It's hard to explain what I'm going through is new. I'm good looking, clean up well, but without this fine young little lady, I'm still in hell. She's brown skinned, Eritrean. Love every second and the time that we spend. We're good friends, there's no need to pretend. The way she walks and moves her hips, those smooth curves, I just love to kiss. It's Sunday morning, make her breakfast in bed, bring her a latte and chill up in the spread, and manifest all the thoughts in my head. The comforter of my life. You know what? She may not know it. I want her to be my wife. It was my fondest wish to stay the night. She's doing fine on her own, about to buy a home. Me, I'm working out some shit, but I've grown. I'm working hard to keep things right. Focus on my music so we can have a life outside of the system and the bright lights. She feeds me juice and curry when I'm hungry. Caress me on my body, it feels lovely. A lot of pain that I took on in my life, I need you to make it right. Need you to make it right. The feelings I'm feeling, it's real in my life. I know you're something special, want you to be my wife. All I need to know is will you treat me right. I wanna make love tonight. The feelings I'm feeling, it's real in my life. I know you're something special, want you to be my wife. All I need to know is will you treat me right. I wanna make love tonight. Brown eyes, caramel skin, beautiful face, where do I begin? Your hips, they keep making me excited. Your breasts, just how I like it. If you're the key to my life, then will you be there for me? All I'm asking is will you trust in me? It's complicated, but I wanna do it right. If we keep true to the love, we can make life. Your destiny is to be with me. I'm waiting for you to be one with me. Your soulmate, I would do anything for you. Baby girl, it's you I adore. Word life, you are my life. I won't deal with nothing that's strife. We're gonna spend all our time together, me and you, girl, forever. The feelings I'm feeling, it's real in my life. I know you're something special, want you to be my wife. All I need to know is will you treat me right. I wanna make love tonight. The feelings I'm feeling, it's real in my life. I know you're something special, want you to be my wife. All I need to know is will you treat me right. I wanna make love tonight. Tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen.
1, 2. Check. Alrighty. Here we go. Good morning, everybody. It is 08:54, April 9th, Thursday, Central European Time. That will make it 2:54 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, America. How's everybody doing? Asia, Africa, Middle East, wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. And this message is out to the free people, the people that's not stuck on something stupid. You know what I mean? If you live in a country where some stupid shit goes on and you don't feel like you can rock with that stupid shit, this one is for you. I don't live in a stupid country, by the way. I'm blessed to live in the country that I live in, but every country, there's always little things that are there, but you got to learn to understand a nuisance, something that's a nuisance, from something that is just a constant and way past nuisance, something that is oppressive or something that, you know, stops you from moving forward, from progressing, right? But if you, my home country is one that's fucked up, like seriously, and I'm really happy that I'm able to just speak about that. Don't get me wrong, proud of my country for a lot of things. Not so proud for a lot of other things. And it's so funny because the things that I'm proud of, this government, this regime, this administration, they fucking hate. Like, they hate Black Americans' contributions to the United States of America. I mean, how can you fucking hate that? What is wrong with you? What's wrong with you when you don't like someone who didn't make excuses even though they were oppressed and still contributed to society. Who are you to hate those people? That is the most petty kind of hate. That is the most petty hate there could be. I mean, so you hate the people that discovered the circumference of the moon and got it, down for communications systems and things like that for the military. You hate those people just because they were, they did barely could get in a program because of segregation, and you hate those people that achieved despite segregation. Okay, great. You hate people that invented things in a time of Jim Crow or worse. You hate that. You hate those people. But that's what the United States is right now, and the United States is going through some growing pains as a baby nation. 250 years old. It's still it's still the kid on the block, so it's learning how to behave, obviously. But yeah, I've been making a lot of observations. Today is about the healthcare, because I feel like we don't talk enough about healthcare, and we don't talk about the pacts, the political pacts around healthcare. A lot of time goes to pacts about other shit. Yo, Americans, understand this. If you're not talking about the healthcare pacts, the anti-universal healthcare pacts that pay both political groups to keep universal healthcare far from within your reach. If you're not concerned about that, if you don't want to have a conversation about that, and you don't want to have a conversation about that every day, basically up until these midterms, you don't want universal healthcare. That's what that means. You want something else. You want whatever it is you talk about every day. That's what you want to focus on. So for me, I just thought like it is the weirdest thing that nobody focuses on this. It's just weird. If you focus on something, you can dissect it. You could break it down. You could learn more about it. You can get the conversation going. You can spread the conversation. The conversation can spread into the electoral cycle where you're only voting for people that come out and say, I'm only for this. But if you don't do the grassroots work, if you don't talk about it just in your everyday, no politician is going to pick it up, because then it's them who's taking the risk. Get everybody else out there on the ground, all the other citizens. It's your business. Start talking about it. Everybody else has universal health care, and places like Denmark have excellent health care, not just universal, but excellent universal health care. Norway has excellent universal health care. Many countries do, by the way. So get past this thing about, oh no, if the money, the more you pay, the better it is. Yo, what the hell are you talking about? You never been sold a fantasy island before that turned out to be crap just because you have the money? You never been robbed before? Yo, it can happen. How about you just work on having a systematic approach so that the quality rises for everybody, since it's systematic. You know what I'm saying? But having said that, I had a few other things I want to talk about. The dynamic with Venezuela again. I mean, not Venezuela. I'm sorry. Iran came up. Iran, and then this thing, man. I'm sorry. Right now, I'm not for narratives. I'm for making my own narrative. I'm not for following anybody's narrative, because there's a lot of. I'm just gonna say it. When it comes to, sometimes people get so biased in their politics, they cannot see what they're doing. They are contributing to the problem. And a lot of them call themselves activists, you know what I mean? But they repeat the same things. I'm going to give you a good example. Why would you support the United States invading? Why would you support Russia invading Ukraine if you don't support the United States invading Iran? Why would you support one and not the other? That's hypocritical. At least you could support both because they both wrong. Okay, clearly they are both wrong, but you could see right there the political divide in the conversation splits right there, because some people are pro-Russian no matter what the fuck they're doing, and some people are pro-United States no matter what the fuck they're doing. I'm not. Okay, I don't know why people like to fall in groups, social groups online with politics, because I find that you really get into your right place when you carve out your own approach to these things. When you're willing to turn over every stone and look at every detail, then you get among the group of people that naturally gravitate towards you. You shouldn't chase just to be in a group of people because it's popular to say this or it's popular to say that. Oh, colonialism, yeah, neo-colonization, yeah, those are real popular terms. But if you don't really examine them for what they really are throughout history, throughout all groups of people, all groups, colonization goes way back before Europeans. Just in case you didn't know, okay, it goes way, way back. It's part of, it can be part of human behavior, basically, come on now. So all depends on what you want to look at. But so I have a few observations about that. But right now, let me see. I want to start off. What's up? There you go. Eric, Jesse James. Yeah, capitalism. There you go. Yeah, well, we use a lot of these terms, man. But we generalize when we use a lot of these terms. Oh my good, JD Vance went full tard. Yes, he did. He went full Trump derangement syndrome on everybody, right? I like how I'm flipping that around now. You know what I mean? Like, these Trump derangement syndrome people out there capping for Trump all the time, right? And JD Vance is his biggest sycophant. JD Vance is just a punk ass too. That's what makes it even more funny. He's just a punk ass. But in any case, he makes no effort at having any conviction in his speech. He just goes out there and does the dirty deed and goes home and waits for his $1 billion friends to reward him, with some cookies and shit, which they will do. JD Vance is primed to take over. JD Vance is looking to get his promised Peter Thiel and Elon Musk big pay off. That's been the plan, obviously, and he's looking to do that. 25th Amendment helps him. You know what I mean? I think it's the worst to just the fact. I mean, JD Vance is perfect, though. It's a perfect reality check. Kamala Harris couldn't be president. She's the first female vice president to ever exist in the country, ever. She can be president, but JD Vance can be. There you have it. He had to do it first. The crooks had to get their guy one more time, one more again. They had to get their guy in there, to make things happen. But in any case, let's look at the healthcare though first, because, I know it might be boring to some people, but it's necessary. It's very necessary because if you don't do it, if you don't do this, no one's going to fucking do it. Trust me when I say this. No one's going to do it. Okay. Now, let's just take a look at some of the dollars behind this, right? Here we go. In the world of political finance, healthcare is consistently one of the top 3 spending sectors. You know what that means? That means if you're not talking about the Pacts that are dealing with healthcare specifically, what are you talking about? Healthcare is a big part of your life. And do you know a big part of your taxes go to healthcare? You know what I'm saying? Like, really. And that's something you and your kids need. Everyone in your family, in your neighborhood, where you can see every day, where you walk by them every day and you see them. You walk right by them. You get on the bus. You drive down the street. You go to the shop, the store. You buy. Every second of your day, you're seeing someone else that needs healthcare. That's how important healthcare is. You see what I'm? That's like talking about clean air. I mean, clean air is important. What if no one cared about the air? What if you just walked around and it was just, filth in the air, But in any case, because of 2026, we now have the full data from the record-breaking 2024 election cycle. So we can review this, right? Which was the most expensive in history. They spent more money in 2024 in history for the election cycle. You see what I mean? So money matters. So when we're out there, it's one thing to criticize people to get the money. I understand that. No problem. In fact, feel free to criticize any politician, no matter if you like them or not. Just criticize. That just comes with the territory. I'm sure most intelligent politicians know that. They don't get all bent up when you criticize them because, that's just part of the territory. You see what I mean? You should be able to have a logical response, right? There's one thing to be criticized and have a logical response. That's one thing. It's another thing to have an illogical criticism. And that's what That's also telling, you know what I'm saying? But in any case, here's how much of the largest PACs and trade groups raise and how they split the money between parties. Yo, we should talk about this. Let's talk about this every day. Let's talk about it every day. All right, because this is going to affect your mama, your sister, your daughter, your brother, your cousin, your nephew, your niece, your aunt, your wife, right? Her friend, your best friend's girlfriend. You see what I mean? Or husband or whatever the hell, right? Everybody. Your child's teacher, your child's teacher's kids, your child's teacher's spouse, the bus driver, the fireman. Okay, the big industry PACs, the pragmatists, right? These groups represent corporate interest. I hope the audio is good. These groups represent corporate interests. They raise money primarily from employee contributions, right? And corporate treasuries, okay? Pharmaceutical research and manufacturers of America Pharma. Wow. Total raise spent in 2024, right? Cycle of the pharmaceutical industry as a whole spent over $350 million on lobbying and federal campaign contributions. So right off on the bat, you see Democrats get less. 42% of that went to Democrats. 58% went to Republicans. So when we're out there, you know, trying to tell Democrats don't take money, I understand that. No problem. No problem. Tell Democrats don't take money in an election cycle you need money in. Go tell them. No problem. But why would you want Democrats having less money than Republicans when Republicans literally want you on the street? Why would you want that? So you see what I'm saying? Like, let's not tie our politicians' hands. Winter, what's up? I see you. Rafika, Kurt. Wow. Oh, Kurt got his comment deleted. Okay. I didn't even see it, Kurt. Sorry, buddy. But in any case, why would you not want Democrats having money? It's okay to not want them to take corrupt money, but don't we want to pay attention to what the other side gets so we know what we're taking away? Don't we want to also do that when we, you know what I'm saying? I think it's important because you don't want to tie groups' hands in an election cycle, right? You might want to at least think about it. It should be a conversation because that would make it fair. That's a fair way to go about it, right? So here right off the bat, you can see Republicans, Democratic share gets, Democrats get 42%. Republicans get the majority of that, right? What are we talking about? America Pharma, right? So that $350 million in the 2024 election cycle, Democrats got 42%. Republicans got 58% of that $350 million. Strategy. They give to both, but they punish or reward based on drug pricing votes. In 2024, they heavily funded Republicans to oppose the expansion of Medicare price negotiations. Do you see that? You see that, right? So this is why I say, and I've been saying this every day, there's more PACs that affect your life than just a PAC. A PAC is foreign. This is not foreign. This is at home. Every single American person is affected by this, no matter who they are, no matter if they took one breath of air and then croaked out the next day. This is way more straight up in your face than many other things people are concerned about. Okay. Why that is, I don't know, but it tells me why you don't have universal health care in the United States of America, because you're worried about other shit. Other shit is more important to talk about. It's more relevant. This is not one. This is not one to dissect before the people. Okay. American Hospital Association. This is another PAC, right? Total raise spent. Their PAC typically raises and distributes between $4 million and $5 million per cycle in direct candidate contributions. Through their lobbying spend influence is much higher, exceeding $25 million annually. Okay, so damn. Democrat share 48%. Again, minority share. Republican share 52%. Majority share. So in big pharma, you're already down. Democrats are already down with financing, right? Is that good? Is that bad? If nobody is talking about universal health care and talking about the PACs that are paying people, then it probably doesn't matter to you anyway, right? Strategy. They are ultimate middle of the road spenders. They give almost equally to both parties, right? Yeah, that's closer to equal to both parties because hospitals are the largest employers in most congressional districts. You see how relevant this is? It's that important, right? It provides jobs, but it should provide jobs. Duh. What the fuck? People need hospitals, but who's really getting the lion's share of the money? Is it administrators who aren't helping anybody? Does it twiddling their fingers through papers all day, trying to figure out who to cut off of healthcare, trying to figure out, just to do the paperwork? Okay, we have this question filled out, that question filled out, this one, does it fit this? Does it fit that? Like, a huge amount of money goes just into that. Nothing to do with an operation, nothing to do with you seeing a doctor, really. No, nothing to do with your doctor visit. All administration is probably more than 1/3 of the fees people are paying, or close to 1/3. That's a lot of waste. Okay. 2, right wing and free market pacts. The ideologues, I'm sorry. These groups don't care about access to both parties. They exist to move the country towards conservative, deregulated health care. Okay. AFP, Action Americans for Prosperity. Total raise spent. This is the Koch. So this is the Koch family. Koch affiliated super PAC spent over $100 million in 2024 cycle alone. Okay. While not all of it was on healthcare, a massive portion of their issue advocacy focused on personal option healthcare, their alternative to ACA. You see that? That's close to $100 million, basically. Democrat. Guess who got money from them? Democrats got none. Republicans got all 100% of that $100 million Koch family money, right? To go against the American Health Care Act, right? ACA, right? So recipients. They primarily fund free market Republicans who promise to repeal ACA subsidies or block public option expanses. So they're paying Republican candidates to go against Republican citizens and voters having affordable health care. That's what they're doing. So if you're middle class and you're Republican, this family is funding politicians to vote against your actual interests. That's why you're paying more money, because of this PAC right here. You're not the only one, but this is one of the PACs. One of the main reasons you're paying more money for healthcare right now, because these people are against the subsidies you got, right? But they're not against Venezuela. I keep telling this all the time. People, the healthcare thing at home, they don't even add up. So this is why you got to talk about it, because these people get away with going everywhere anyway, all the time, right? And those issues become more important and relevant in the news cycle for people to talk about, just like we do every day here. We talking about war, we talking about invasion, right? But this, where they're spending money, huge amount of money, against the average American's interests, almost gets no daylight. Club growth, total raised and spent, right? Club for Growth Action. Total raise spent roughly $80 million in 2024. That's just the last election cycle. Did Democrats get part of that 80 million? 0. Republicans 100%. Recipients, they focus on primarying moderate Republicans. If a Republican supporter expanding government health care. So if a Republican decides they're for universal health care or for expanding health care rights, this organization spends money to primary them, right? Just like you heard Friars talk a lot about AIPAC trying to primary candidates that are not pro-Israel. That means get someone else to run against them, fund anyone else to run against them as long as they're pro-Israel, regardless of whatever else they're talking about. Well, this group right here does the same thing, except they're doing it about healthcare right here in the United States of America. So you see how that makes it a little different? because one thing really doesn't necessarily affect you directly. Most Americans, that is. But this affects way more Americans directly. Club for Growth Action is like the is like the APAC of healthcare, except they're American. Okay. I'm sorry I have to say it this way, but it's true. It's true, right? I have to say it this way. I'm sorry. I just think it sounds so funny that way. This is the APAC. This is the APAC of fucking healthcare, except they're American, right? Yeah, that's basically what it is. They're not the only one now. Both of these are. Look, this one, AFP, another APAC against healthcare rights in the U.S., right? Except they're American. Club for Growth Action, another APAC against Americans having healthcare. You know what I'm saying? Affordable healthcare. Okay, that's another one. This is already 2 APACs. Okay, 3. Comparison of total healthcare sector. Okay. There's more though. There's more. Watch this. Let me see. To see the scale, here's how the healthcare sector, including doctors, pharma, and insurance, distributed its money in the last major cycle. So let me switch over, blow this up now to the next one. Yeah, here we go. So I hope everybody can see this, right? So here we got the sector comparison of total healthcare sector giving. To see the scale, here's how the healthcare sector, including doctors, pharma, and insurance, distributed its money in the last cycle. Okay, so pharmaceuticals, Democrats got 38% of that, right? Hold on. Whoa. Sorry about that. Let me fix this. I see I didn't do it all right. So let me go down here. I got to adjust it a little bit. Here we go. Because you can't see the Republican part. Here we go. All right. There we go. So, pharmaceuticals. Total 85 million distributed to different candidates. Democrats got 38 million. Republicans got 62 million. This is very important for people to understand before you criticize. Right? You need to go over the data, and everyone needs to be familiar with the data too, to have a good conversation and a substantive discussion about this stuff. You know, you can't go to your neighbor if you don't have the basic facts, right? You see what I mean? Healthcare professionals, 110 million, 54% of that went to Democrats, 46. So PACs that were supportive of healthcare workers, 54% of that went to Democrats. You see how this flip-flops? That's interesting. And 46% went to Republicans. Healthcare services, hospitals, 75 million, 49%, right? Doctors, pharma, and insurance. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Comparison of total healthcare sector giving. Is this? All right. Well, hold on. Let me get through this. I'm just going to ask a few other questions. Insurance, 60 million, 45% to Democrats, 55% to Republicans. Okay. So summary, who gets the money? Republicans get the protection money. Companies give to the GOP to prevent new regulations, tax increases, or government mandate price caps on drugs. You see that? So Republicans are getting money for this to not price cap drugs, meaning not make it affordable. Okay, that's why it's so expensive. Okay, tax regulations. Okay, to prevent new regulations, new tax increases on their companies. So they likely. Do you know how much these companies are being taxed? Are they being taxed much at all? Or are they being taxed very little? Are you being taxed more than them? You tell me, but it's worth asking that question. Okay. Democrats get to access money. Companies give to Democrats, especially those on the House Ways and Means or Senate Finance Committees, to ensure their lobbyists can still get a meeting to tweak legislation rather than be shut out entirely. Okay, that's okay. That's good, right? Dark money. The numbers above only reflect disclosed PAC money. In 2024, dark money, non-disclosed from healthcare aligned groups reached an estimated 1.9 billion. So there's more PACs spending this money, $1.9 billion that candidates get, but it's dark money, so no one can track it. You see what I mean? Or that's what they say. Now, huge portions of this came from the American Action Network, center right, and majority forward, center left, which runs healthcare themed attack ads without ever naming their donors. That's $1 billion in attack ads without ever telling you who's doing the attacking. Okay. Do any of them oppose universal health care? Yes. Yes. Now we can flip back. Let me see. Let me go back to the other screen here. Boom. Yes, they do. Almost all of them. All of the PACs actively oppose universal health care, specifically in the form of Medicare for all or a single payer tax system, right? So anyone who's getting money from them is pretty much getting money to not have a single payer system. That means same cost for the surgeries for everybody instead of privatizing it, which means, all of a sudden, a heart transplant could be valued at costing more money just because the market, right? Something we're just like the gasoline. You see, you got plenty of gasoline, but plenty of oil, but because the market wants to name the price, you got to pay more, because they got to make billions of dollars. The administration fees, billions and billions and billions of dollars. That's a huge percentage of the public taxes get paid for administrative fees. That's billions. The billions that you pay out of your taxes that don't go into a fucking operation or a piece of medicine or a doctor's visit. Like, straight up. Okay. While these groups often use the phrase universal access in their marketing, they define it very differently than universal health care. To these PACs, universal access means every American should have the option to buy a private insurance plan. You see? Why does it have to be private? Often with some government help, rather than the government providing the health care directly. You see? So this is why it becomes expensive, because someone at the top is getting paid a lot of money. It's a business. In other words, they want to rake in money like they want to rake in money like Netflix, basically, off of this shit. But you need it. It's more important than Netflix. You see what I mean? Now, they're not, in order for them to make all that money like Netflix, everybody can't get health care, but you still going to have to pay into it in the tax part of it, but you just won't get it. This is what's going on right now. Here's why major PACs oppose it. The big three industry PACs, these groups view universal health care, single payer, as a direct threat to their business models. Pharmaceutical companies, they oppose it. This is crazy. When you think about this, Denmark sells pharmaceuticals, but they have universal health care. Why is it a threat? Why is it a threat? Why is that their excuse in the USA, that they think that's a threat to them? You know why? Because instead of them saying we're still making money off of other countries because we're worldwide, we have an advantage worldwide anyway, right? They don't want that. They want you to be their primary fool. Yo, straight up. The American citizens are the company's primary target. Like, you have the money, so they just want to charge you more for it. They will sell the same product somewhere else for cheaper. Can you believe that? That's what's going on. You're paying more for your shit. I don't know why. Okay. They oppose universal health care because a single payer government, the government would have massive leverage to negotiate drug prices down. In a private system, they can set different prices for the different insurers. So that is exactly what is happening right now. American Hospital Association, AHA, they argue that Medicare and Medicaid reimburse hospitals at lower rates than private insurance does. They claim that if everyone were on a government plan, many hospitals, especially rural ones, would go bankrupt. What does bankrupt mean? Trump went bankrupt. You still elected him. Farmers, are they going bankrupt? What do you do when a farmer, is losing money? What do? You give them more money every single year. Yeah. But then again, is it important to, if everyone has health care, does it actually make people's health better? And does it drive down the cost of health care overall? Yes. In the long run, it drives down costs because now you have preventative care. So, insurance pack, Blue Cross, United Health. For them, remember when we talk about healthcare, and I ask people this all the time, a lot of them say Blue Cross or United Health, right? That's great. For them, universal healthcare is an extinction level event. So when I'm asking people, who's your healthcare provider? And they're like, man, I got Blue Cross, like be bragging and shit. It's like, man, they charge you up the wazoo, and you proud of that shit? They charging them up the wazoo. They think because they're being charged more, they're getting better health care. Okay, if the government becomes the only insurer, private health insurance companies lose their primary reason for existing. Not really. How about providing care? Is your primary reason for existing to make money in the healthcare system, or is it to provide healthcare to the citizen? You tell me, which one is it? Which one is more important? Who would you trust? The ideological right-wing Pacts. These groups oppose universal health care on principle, viewing it as a socialized medicine and an overreach of government power. In other words, they're against it at all costs. Americans' Prosperity, AFP, they advocate for a personal option. Their goals is to move away from government programs and towards a system where individuals get a tax credit to shop for their own private plans or use health savings accounts, HSA. Club for Growth. This is another one. They oppose the spending required for universal health care, argue it would lead to massive tax hikes and a decrease in the quality of care innovation. Okay. So if it costs more, they believe that if they can make more off of it, they believe it's better. That's basically what that means. How they fight it. The partnership. Okay. Most of these groups, Pharma, AHA, and the insurance lobby, previously formed a massive coalition called the Partnership for America's Healthcare Future. Sounds nice, don't it? The mission, to lobby specifically against Medicare for all and the public option. The tactic, they spend millions on television ads during election years to convince voters that universal health would lead to higher taxes, longer wait times, and a loss of choice. But that's not true. That's just not what it is. Okay, the middle ground loophole. It's worth noting that some of these groups like AHA, do support things like Medicaid expansion for keeping the Affordable Health Care Act, ACA. Why? Because those programs keep the private insurance system intact while the government pays the bill for more customers. They don't want to get rid of government help entirely. Notice that. They just want to make sure that help flows through private companies rather than replacing them. Wow. Sounds like a business to me. It sounds like a good business to have if you could get that that government money. You know what I'm saying? So let me see here. 45 Ronnie. What's up, 45 Ron? Is Ronnie. I'm sorry. What's good? Private covers more things over government health care. I think right now, yeah, basically right now it does. That's you mean not in Denmark, in the US, right? And then, let me see. Government dental only covers cleaning and extractions. Special approval for major dental care. Yeah. That's interesting because in Denmark, dental care is not really included. It's included for elderly and children, but not others, right? So for me, I have to pay for my dental care. but my kids don't. And when you get older, then you don't have to. It's taken care of. Basically, Jethro told pyramid scam. Basically. Now let me see something. Let me just find out what other pacts in the USA advocate against the average taxpayer's interest and lean more corporate, so prices are higher and more limited access is provided. Let's see what they come up with. Right-wing pacts. Let's see. It's important. Okay, because healthcare is one of them. So while healthcare is the most visible sector where corporate pacts, political action committees, and trade groups influence prices, several other massive. So that's important to know. It's the most visible sector, right? Even though people don't talk about it that often. A little bit, yeah, but not as often as you might think, because this is loads of money. Especially the effects of the policies are loads of money. When you realize how much taxes get spent, the way that it's organized, you realize, damn, this amount of money is going to administrative fees. But it's almost, administrative fees are basically 1/3 of the taxes you pay, for healthcare. 1/3 of that is to administrative fees. That's private industry. Has nothing to do with any service provided. It's just paperwork. Okay. While healthcare is the most visible sector where corporate pacts, political action, and trade groups influence prices, several other massive industries use similar playbooks to limit competition, keep prices high, and restrict consumer rights. In the current 2026 political landscape, these are the largest pacts and trade associations that critics argue prioritize corporate profits over the average taxpayer's wallet. Okay. Financial and credit lobby. This is perhaps the most powerful group outside of the healthcare. They advocate against caps on interest rates and for the ability to charge junk fees. Okay. The American Bankers Association, ABA, represents giant banks, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo. They have been fighting the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, for years to prevent limits on credit card late fees and overdraft charges. The American Growth Alliance, the newer 501c4 dark money group formed by major banks. Damn, the American Growth. So this is dark money. It's going to be hard to track, who's involved, right? They spend heavily to ensure that the total cost of loans remains high by preventing transparency laws that would show taxpayers exactly how much interest they are paying. So you don't even know. That's crazy. They don't want they don't want to have to tell the public how much taxpayers are paying in interest rates. They don't want to have to do their reporting to the public. That's crazy. Who gets the money? They lean slightly right, slightly Republican, but they fund moderate Democrats on the Financial Services Committee to ensure the consumer protection bills are watered down before they reach a vote. The big tech and AI lobby. With the AI boom of, so this is another one. With the AI boom of 2025, 2026, tech companies have shifted from disruptors to some of the most aggressive lobbyists in DC. Yes. And I don't know if the climate doesn't tell you about that, but yeah. Fair Shake Crypto Pack, one of the largest spenders in 2024 and 2026 cycles, raises over $190 million. You see, these groups are dwarfing APAC, and they have huge implications on your everyday life, every second you live, straight up. They push for the deregulation of digital assets, which critics say leaves average investors vulnerable to scams and high fees while protecting wealthy whales. Yeah, that's true. Stay out of the crypto market. I stay out of that shit, man. It's a sad sight right now, to be honest. Crypto's Trump probably killed crypto. I mean, it looks like that to me anyway. Leading the future, backed by Silicon Valley giants, OpenAI executives, Andreessen Horowitz, this group lobbies to ensure that large AI models remain proprietary, and unregulated. This can lead to higher subscription costs and walled gardens where consumers are forced. See, people should pay attention to this, because what if, all right, take a look at AI, how relevant AI is. Well, if you look across the globe and you look at how much it costs for a person to access it, whatever AI they do in different countries, right? And then you look at how much you spend out of your salary, right? What percentage that is. If you find out that you're actually spending more to access, that means you're less competitive than the next person. The next person is actually getting more out of their access to AI than you are, because you're simply paying more for it. That's crazy, right? It's supposed to make things easier and cheaper and efficient, right? But you end up paying more than other people if you don't pay attention to this. Okay, who gets the money? They are aggressively bipartisan, specifically targeting candidates in safe seats who can stay in office for decades and protect their interests. The energy and utilities lobby. These groups often, this is a big one. Okay, this is a huge one. The energy and utilities lobby. These groups often advocate for monopoly protections that prevent taxpayers from using cheaper, decentralized energy like home and solar. So the U.S., the Americans' energy problem and utility things, this can be summed up in one word: lobbyist. Really, it's self-inflicted. It is no reason why the prices should be that high, but it is totally self-inflicted, and the politicians are doing it. The politicians are accepting the money, and American citizens are letting them get away with it, man. They're not talking about it. American citizens don't mind paying higher prices. I mean, this is how I look at it, and maybe we get distracted. It is true, because, on one hand, nobody likes to see genocide. Nobody likes to see wars. Nobody likes to deal with the Epstein files. But that's all the fucking news cycle is dealing with. The news cycle is not dealing with any, pretty much not in a comprehensive way. Not in a way that people can understand it, that it's user friendly. When corporate media is talking about this kind of stuff, they're not really being user friendly. If you ask me, everybody doesn't speak the same vernacular. Everyone doesn't get, maybe how this affects them in the same way, that others might get it. But in any case, here we go. Edison Electric Institute, this is Con Edison, right? EEI. Represents investor-owned electric companies. They have spent millions to lobby for laws that make it more expensive for homeowners to sell solar power back to the grid. Yeah. Stingy motherfuckers, they don't want Americans living good, having good lives, And this is so important for if people are elderly and retired people that want to live in their homes. This is very, very important that they find a way to reduce costs, right? And here they are saying, fuck y'all, man. Fuck you retirees, man. Yeah. American Petroleum Institute, API, the primary lobby for big oil. They advocate for subsidies, taxpayer money, to go to oil companies while opposing regulations that would lower prices at the pump by increasing competition from alternative fuels. You see that? So this is the big one. This is what you're experiencing. I mean, this energy shit, y'all experiencing this from every corner of the energy, and this is lobby reasons why you're doing it. American Petroleum Institute, API, the primary lobby for big oil. They advocate for subsidies. So they want your money, taxpayer money, to go to oil companies while opposing regulations that would lower prices at the pump by increasing competition. So they're getting your tax dollars while they ain't giving you shit. That is insane. That's insane. but it is that way. That's what it's doing. Do me a favor, click the like button, y'all. I mean, I know this is a little boring. It's about to get more exciting when we get into the everyday news, but this is important shit right here. This is important shit right here, especially for Americans right here. And Europeans, we talk about this all the time. People live in Europe. People are, everybody experiences inflation, but it ain't like this. Not in a lot of countries. Maybe some countries a little more that have oil problems, but I guess I'm in Denmark, so it's not that bad. It's way more moderate. It's way more moderate. But in any case, to go to oil companies while opposing regulations that would lower prices at the same pump, at the prices at the pump by increasing competition. Yeah, so they don't want alternative fuels, right? So that's why the prices are going to be high, but they're getting your taxpayer money. Who gets the money? Historically, 70 to 80% Republicans. So your gas prices is a Republican thing. Your energy, electricity, this is a Republican problem, pretty much. Why? Because they're getting 70 to 80% of the lobby money, and you're seeing what's happening with that money. You're seeing it in real time. They ain't doing shit about gas prices. They ain't doing shit about electricity prices. There it is. Nothing happening on that one. Okay. At least and let me ask you something. Who's supposed to do if they're getting 70 to 80% of the money, then who's supposed to fight against this? Just tell me, who's supposed to fight against it? And who are you going to support to fight against it? Even more importantly. Okay. Damn, this is deep. Okay. Republicans, as they favor the deregulation of environmental standards, which keeps operational costs low for corporations, but often leads the taxpayer to foot the bill for environmental cleanup. Yes. So, yeah, while you're still paying high prices. Okay, summary of tactics. So let me flip over here now to the next one. Is that there? Here we go. Let's flip it up. Here we go. So, summary. Industry, primary trade group, tactics to raise prices, limit access. Finance, American Bankers Association, fighting junk fee bans and interest rate caps. Telecom, U.S. Telecom NCTA, opposing net neutrality, and municipal broadband keeps internet bills high. We talk about this shit all the time. How much is your internet bill? My internet bill is my internet bill for my home is about, let me see here. It's about $60 every 3 months for I got fiber optics in my home. And then on my phone, my telephone is between $14 and $20 a month. And I get 100 gigabytes internet on that and free talk time, free messaging, 5 hours European use for other countries. And this is what the difference is. You know what I'm saying? Eric says, what else has gone up in 5 times is why I bought a Model S Tesla 10 years ago. Yeah, exactly. But right. But the truth is Americans are just paying more across the board for every goddamn thing. I mean, that's the crazy part about it. Yeah, you guys just pay more for shit. And I don't understand why that is, but it is. It is. Is this right? Oh, okay, here we go. So let me continue with this. There's a little more. I got to make that bigger. Okay, so there's the telecom, right? And then there's the tech AI, fair shake leading the future, preventing regulations that would open up competition and lower data costs. Then there's energy. For energy, there's Edison. These are the Pacts. Edison Electric Institute, right? They lobby to keep your prices high. Lobbying against net meter, making solar more expensive for individuals. Yeah, they don't want you to have solar power shit because it's going to bring the prices down. They make less money. You're going to pay more. But right now, it's like long overdue because people are paying excruciating prices for electricity. I mean, how much is your electric bill a month? Let me know in the chat how much you pay for your electric bill in your crib. I'm curious about that because, my electricity bill is about between 300 and 500 kroner. That's about $90 a month. My electricity bill is somewhere around there. So yeah, let me see. 13 per gallon, 91 octane. Okay, that's gas. Okay. 500 or more. $500 or more? Damn. I pay $90 for my electricity a month for my crib, my whole crib. That's crazy, right? I pay I got a 3-bedroom flat, 3-bedroom flat. So okay, my internet. Yeah, that's your electric bill. Okay. Okay, Matt says my internet is $75 a monthly and phone is $75 a month in Australia. Okay, Seattle prices. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Guys, support real opposition candidates. Now, this is Patrick. Start diversifying your votes and stop depending on Dems only. I can understand why do many of you think they're the only game in town. Yeah, I mean, to me, you need to support people that are talking about the issues. It's not about, for me though, it's not about whether they're Dems. It's about what they're talking about. You know, you got to support people that want to work on issues that affect your life. And even though I'm a Democrat, I don't understand people that just don't listen to what people are saying. Yeah, you know, and that's got to be number one. And you got to vote for people. You also got to use your brain, though. You got to use your brain. Support people that are advocating, right, for real change that's possible, right? People that are committed to knowing what the hell they're talking about, to being informed, right? And support those candidates. But I understand. People are, when you are the Democratic Party, you are the party the only party that really is in power, right? Even though they're a minority group, they're a big party. They get a lot of the inherent blame when things don't go right. You see what I mean? Because people expect more out of the Democratic Party than they get, right? So in other words, the Democrats get the blame for any problem because people don't expect Republicans to fix problems. They expect Dems to fix problems. You know what I mean? People, so it does. I mean, the Dems can't win anyway. But they need to do a better damn job. That's for damn sure. They need to do a lot better job. And yeah, but I would say demand more out of all the candidates. Demand more. And Republican people, why are these things? Why are you against things that are good for you? I find that to be the bigger conversation in the United States, because the more people you have that understand how things work, the more these fucking politicians have to deliver. You see what I mean? But if there's always half of the population extremely against anything that makes sense, that makes it impossible. That makes it impossible. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Imagine, half of the population. Oh my God. I don't even want to have to pull. I'm going to have to pull that video up and remind people of what that lady said. What the lady say yesterday? She said something like, I know what I want. I know what I want. Half of the population is like, we want to pay more for health care. I know what I want. I don't want to vote. I don't want to have the right to vote. I know what I want. I mean, it's crazy. When you have a big amount of the population that is like that, it is hard for anyone to get anything done because you need more support. To get health care, to get universal health care, you need a supermajority to vote for it. That's what you need. You need a supermajority and to say this is a green light. That just means you need 2/3 of the Congress or the Senate at any given time. You don't know what way they will go about it, but some votes require less. But to overhaul the system, you're going to need you're going to need some security, and I believe that's 2/3 in the Senate. I think it's a simple majority in Congress, but 2/3 in the Senate. But the more support you have for an issue, the easier it is to accomplish it. But in the U.S., man, basic shit. People be like, nope, I'm against that shit. I know what I want. I don't want cheaper electricity. I know what I want. You be like, what the fuck? I want to pay more for electricity. I know what I want. What the fuck? That shit is crazy, man. Oh my God. Yeah, let me see here. Who said this? Six Cents said New Zealand changed from first past to post elections to MMP. Unlike winner takes all systems, MMP ensures smaller parties can enter parliament if they have enough broad support. That's a good idea. You're right. But our parties in the U.S. are so crooked. They don't want any type of change. No, fuck that. All or nothing. Okay. Nirvana says Dems can't even win a single local election during November 2025 midterm elections. Oh, really? Is that what happened? Well, this is 2026. So they're winning a whole lot in 2026. But for me, it's not about are they winning. Again, these things should be unilaterally understood. The problem is that you have too many voters that don't want a better healthcare system. You have too many voters that don't want cheaper electricity. They vote against it. You have too many voters that don't want cheaper internet. They vote against it. You have too many voters that don't want cheaper childcare. They vote against it. No party can beat that. No party can beat 50% of the population being ignorant and voting against their own interests. No party can beat that. You see what I mean? And I think that's where the difference comes in. That's what makes the U.S. unique. You have people that are anti-American, that are American. They don't want the next American having what they have. Like, and that's how they vote. They're like, I don't want you having, if it have to come, they're living in a fantasy world. They're like, if it have to come out of my tax dollars, I don't want you having that. But you're already paying for, look, you're paying more. This list here, people's taxes are going to oil companies, and oil companies are not bringing down your cost of gas. It's already happening. So there's a lot of anti-American voters, anti-American citizen voters, active ones that literally vote to make life harder for everyone else. And you can't beat that. No political party can beat that. When you have 50%, if you have 40% of the voters that are voting against everyone's best interest, you ain't going to get shit done. See, a simple majority is not enough in the United States of America. You need more Americans across political parties actually understanding that, damn, we're getting ripped off for our taxes because of our healthcare system the way it is. It's cheaper to just give everybody healthcare. Once Americans realize that, then across the board, then you can have universal health care. But right now you pay more for less people getting access to it. You pay, and the people that don't get access to it are paying bills for others. It's crazy. And why is that happening? Because American citizens vote for it to be that way. That's why. Electricity costs higher. Why is that happening? American citizens vote to have electricity prices higher. What the fuck? Nobody else is doing that dumb shit. Americans are doing that dumb shit. Why? It's almost like they like punishing each other. I want to hurt your life. I want to stop you. It's crazy. Yeah, Democrats just won in the Wisconsin last night. Yeah, they won. The Democrats I don't know what that statement was about. Plus, this ain't 2025. This is 2026. This is the midterms here. 2025 ain't no midterms. What the hell? I was lost by that comment. But in any case, listen, don't be against someone just for the sake of being against them. You know how lame that is? Don't be against people just because a Dem said this, so I'm going to be against it. No, stop thinking Dem and Republican and start thinking about what's being said by the person. Things will go a lot better that way and shit, But a lot of Americans instinctively hear that it's a Dem and they just like, I'm not listening. Ears closed. I'm sorry. I can't listen to that. I know what I want. In any case, Let me do one other little query here and shit real quick. Show me which politicians get the money from these Pacts. Let me see here. Yeah, let's take a look. I want to see which ones, and then we can get to the regular news here. Since we're looking at 2026 election cycle, we have the data from the record-breaking 2024 general elections and the midterm fillings. Okay, so the money generally follows committee power. If a politician sits on a committee that oversees Medicare, banking, or energy, they are almost guaranteed to be at one of the top recipients. Top healthcare and pharma recipients. Pharma and insurance companies target the Senate Finance Committee and the House Energy and Commerce Committee. You see that? So these are two committees that are very, very important to follow. They speak for themselves, right? House Energy, right? That's electricity, that's gas, oil, right? Solar panels, all that shit. You can see who's paying to stop solar panels, see who's paying to stop wind energy. In the Commerce Committee, right? And then Senate Finance Committee. Okay, so let's see here. Because these groups decided how much the government pays for drugs and services. Okay, so let's see here. Now let's open this up. Boom. Is it open? Right. Is it open? Okay. So let's see here. Top healthcare pharma. Should I do that a little more? Yeah, here we go. Pharma insurance companies target the Senate Finance Committee and House Energy and Commerce Committee because these groups decide how much the government pays for drug and services. Oh, wow. I got to make this bigger. Okay. So here we go. Let me make this a little. I got to do something so everybody can at least have it on the screen. Here we go. Boom. So let's go. Politician, party, key role, recent industry, right? Mitch McConnell, Republican, Senator, GOP leader, 1.2 million, heavy pharma insurance, right? So he's getting paid by them to organize others to vote against the American people's access to cheap pharmaceuticals or affordable pharmaceuticals, right? Okay. Let's see. Is there more to this? No, that's right there. Okay. So, who else? Steve Scalise, right? Is that how you pronounce his name? Scalise. Okay, Republican. House Majority Leader, 900,000, medical device pharma. Okay. So, now who else? Hakeem Jeffries. You see, Democrat, House Minority Leader, insurance pharma. You see that? So, I mean, that's worth noting. Almost $1 million, right? Cassidy, right? Bill Cassidy, Republican, Senate Health Committee, 700,000, Physicians Groups Pharma, okay? Frank Pallone, New Jersey, Democrat, House Energy and Commerce, 650, okay? Pharma state. Okay, so top finance and banking recipients, the junk fee lobby, okay? The American Bankers Association. Now, these ones that we read are generally understood that ones in health to be negative, just so people know. The ones that are against the average American's best interest, pretty much, right? Two top finances and banking recipients, the junk fee lobby. The American Bankers Association and giant firms like Citigroup and JP Morgan focus on the House Financial Services Committee. Patrick McHenry, Republican, NC. Okay, that's North Carolina. As a key figure in finance services, he has historically been a top recipient of banking and crypto money. Let me close this down now. Banking and crypto money. Okay. So, that's interesting. Banking and crypto money. Okay. And, right. Josh Gottheimer, right? Democrat, a leader of the Problem Solvers Caucus. He's one of the highest funded Democrats by the financial sector, often advocating for more moderate banking regulations. Okay. See, I just wonder when is some of these are center packs, right? But I just wonder how, what is really baked in this cake right here. advocating for more moderate banking regulations. Okay, but that might be the the bank sector anyway. So finance sector. Okay, French Hill, a Republican, Arizona, a major recipient from the American Bankers Association, Pacts, focusing on deregulating regional banks. So that speaks for itself. Crypto, okay, Kingmakers fair shake. Yeah, crypto, because there's a lot of dirty money going through crypto. So and then there's the dark web, right? So 2024-26 cycles, fair shake, a pro crypto super PAC, became one of the most feared and influential spenders. Okay, they don't just give to friends, they spend millions to defeat anyone who wants to regulate their industry. Recipients, okay, they gave millions to Chantel Brown and Richie Torres, okay, two Democrats, ensure pro crypto voices stay in the Democratic Party. The hit list, they spent over $10 million to help defeat Katie Porter, Democrat in California, in her Senate bid because she was a vocal critic of the industry's lack of consumer protections. Yeah, that's not a good look when you have one group getting it, Democrats that are getting the money, and then they're spending money, same PAC is spending money to, primary people who just want consumer protections, right? Energy and utility monopoly recipients. The Edison Electric Institute, EEI, and American Petroleum Institute, API, focus on energy hawks. Joe Manchin, Iowa Democrat. Historically, the first recipient of energy money in the Senate, even though he isn't seeking re-election to the Senate in the same way. His influence over energy policy drew millions from the coal and utility lobby. Kathy Morris Rogers, Republican, Wyoming, right? As a leader on energy committees, she receives massive support from the utility PACs that oppose decentralized solar competition. You see that? So this lady, man, you're going to vote for her? She's keeping your energy prices up. Vote for her if you like high prices. Yeah. Why do they get this money? You'll notice a pattern. Leaders and committee chairs get the most. The insurance policy corporations give to leaderships like Jeffries or McConnell because these people control which bills even get to the vote, even get a vote. You see, if a bill would lower drug prices but hurt profits, the PACs pay the leaders to keep that bill stuck in a drawer. The safe bet. PACs rarely give to long shot challengers. They give to incumbents who are almost certain to win, ensuring they have a friend in office next year. 3. The primary shield. For Democrats like Gothamer or Republicans like moderate incumbents, this corporate money acts as a shield to prevent a more progressive or populist challenger from winning a primary. Okay. Pro tip. If you want to see the live update dollar amounts for your specific representatives, you can search them on opensecrets.org. It's a gold standard for tracking exactly which corporate PACs are buying ads for local politicians. Let's just peep that real quick, too, since that's here. Let's see here. Boom. All right, this is Open Secrets. Okay, this is a pretty interesting website. Who contributes to politicians? Okay, explore contributors. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Can you share now? Right now, politicians need votes to win a re-election. Okay, so everybody, I'm gonna put this in the chat so people can use this themselves. Let's see here. All right, I hope everybody can see that. Yeah, they give they give corporation energy discounts. Yeah, exactly. Corporations, they're getting taxpayer dollars. The energy companies are getting taxpayer dollars at the same time they're not lowering prices. It's insane. It's insane. It is insane, yo. It's an embarrassment. And the main thing is that what you got to understand is this is happening because American people want it to happen this way. This is the base of it. When American people, left and right, decide they don't want to be the fools of the Western world, it will change. Until they decide that, it will not change. As long as there's enough people, 30 to 40% of the voters that are okay with high energy prices, that are okay with high healthcare prices, okay with high pharmaceutical prices. Oh, as long as they're okay, it will continue. As long as they vote to keep it that way, it will continue, because a party with just majority votes cannot change it. You need super majority. You need 70%. You need 70% of the Senate, right? 70%. And in some cases, yeah, I believe it's just the Senate. You need 70%. But yeah, it's always the best bet to have a super majority, 70% of both houses. Then you can get anything done. You see what I mean? You can basically run the world then. But this is the pact. This is the open secrets. So you can find out members of Congress, for example. Let's see here. They show you. Oh, this guy. This is Scalise. Yeah, this is him. Damn, this is who we just talked about. The majority leader, right? They getting this money, man. Speaker Mike Johnson. They getting this money. Pharmaceutical companies, right? Companies to keep your health care higher. Companies to keep your electricity bill higher, right? Because they're against solar energy. Right. They're against wind energy. They're against a lot of shit. You know, they're even against telling the oil companies to regulate their prices. Right. They're against that. And then you have Hakeem Jeffries, minority, you know, he's getting some bad health care money. Or you could say corporate health care money. Yeah, that's what we'll call it. Corporate health care money. So, you know, keep this in mind. Some are getting more than others. Then there's damn, this is the this is the Senate. You got Schumer. Hey, Schumer. Look at that. Why did they have this picture, man? This is a 20-year-old picture. No good. No good. We need to update this shit. But people need to do their due diligence and look through each member, and then find out who they're getting. Let's say Mike Johnson, for example. Let's see here. Who's Mike Johnson getting money from? Mike Johnson, just as an example, right? Look, top industry. This is damn. He's getting over $500,000 from APAC, and 6 top industry. He's $6 million for other top industry packs. Look at this. He raised $19 million in 2023-24 and spent $18 million. That was his campaign. And he got money. So this is who he gets money from. He gets money from APAC, $500,000, right? He gets money from Lockheed Martin, $60,000. Altria Group, $43,000. Praxis LLC, and he's just a congressional member, $41,000. National Association of Broadcasters, he gets $41,000. Okay, then he gets from individuals. I mean, he gets more. He's getting over $1 million from APAC. That's 1.2 million from APAC. Straight up, that's crazy, right? That's a lot of money. Then he's getting $100,000 from Lockheed Martin, $110,000 maybe. Altria Group, he's getting $100,000 roughly, right? Maybe $90,000. Praxis, okay, he's getting $82,000. National Association of Broadcasters, he's getting about $80,000 too. Okay, look, and then top industry. Damn, he's getting loads of money, man. Retired, $6 million. Individuals, $6 million. Republican conservatives, $1 million. Individuals, Republicans, $1 million. 1.5, both. Is this the same fee? No, okay. Securities investments. You can see this. I mean, this is so cool. This is his shit. This is his dirt, man. This is homeboy's dirt. That's very, very cool. Now let me go back. Let's do another example. Let's say Hakeem Jeffries, just to make sure we have two different colors from the males, so nobody thinks that we're going to discriminate. Two different parties too, right? We don't want to be unfair to anybody. We don't want to have a bunch of Trump derangement syndrome MAGA supporters chiming out on our ass. Okay, 4 million. Damn, 22 million, spent 20 million. I mean, but these are for his election. This is for his election. Yeah. This is a lot, man. This is a lot of money. Yeah, this is a lot of money. This is a lot of money. $20 million. So he just got even more of this in 24. You see how that jumped? But that shows you a lot of money is being spent right now. It takes a lot of money to be in politics right now. It takes a lot of money. And so that goes back to, do you tell your politicians to not accept money? I mean, because that could almost be a guaranteed loss, you know? I mean, seriously, you know? So it's hard to know, but I would say the best thing to do is for American people to just get past, well, hold on. Let me see. Somebody said it's Israel. Let me go back here, because I don't think it's that simple, y'all. No, I'm telling you, Israel, yeah, it is in the millions. So easily anybody has got $1 million from Israeli pact. That's easy. But that doesn't account for 22 million. 22 million is coming from a lot of other pacts. So look, this is just 1.6 million right here. Then you have down here pro Israel. So that's about 2.5 million, right? You could say, right? But here, it says top contributors, top industries. No. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is about right. That's about right. I got it right. Top industries. So really, it's not. The biggest one is retired. Where is that at? Oh, damn. He got something from BlackRock. Jeffries got something from BlackRock. Damn. Retired. So I wonder what that's about. Let me see here. Under Jeffries. I just want to get an explanation of that real quick. To clarify, retired is not a PAC, right? Political Action Committee. When you see retired at the top of the politicians' donor list on the sites, like Open Secrets, it refers to industry category, right? Exactly. Individual donors, not a single. Okay, so retirees. I get it now. So these are people. Federal Elections Commission requires every person who gives more than 200 to list their employer. If the person is no longer working, they list retired. Okay, so that's what that is. I'm glad I looked at that, because I didn't know. So Jeffries is getting a lot of money from retired individuals, right? That's the biggest. Now, okay, that's very good to know. That's very good to know. His biggest is retired people. So I'll give him that. Now, let me just go out of here. I'm glad I've double checked that, because I don't want to crucify somebody for something that's not totally, that's not correct, right? Now, let's just do as a comparison here. MAGA Mike Johnson gets $6 million from retirees. That's interesting. That is interesting. He gets less money from Israel. Okay, these are industries. See, I'm curious how this adds up. If this is two different, why does it say 720,000 here, and here it says 600? because these are two different things. These are okay. Yeah. Well, all right, let me go back. You all can explain it to me. Let me know. Y'all, can y'all help me with this? Because I'm not really sure what I'm looking at all the way either. So excuse me if I'm not explaining it 100% correctly, because I'm just taking a look at it now. You bought, Eric Klein, Northrop Grumman. Oh, really? And it's now 687. Damn, when did you buy that, man? When did you buy that? How long ago? I mean, European weapons companies are going up. The stock is going up for sure. But let me see here. Let me go back to this. Who else? Let's see here. I tell you what, I'm going to summarize this way. Which politicians get the most from AIPAC or right-wing Israel Pacts? Let's see here. I'm just curious about this. I don't know. I don't think there's too much of a shortcut for this because details matter when framing it. Yesterday I saw somebody put up a lie. There's people always talking about lies. I saw somebody put up a lie about Kamala Harris. They quoted her. Should I tell you what it is? Let me show you what. Oh my God, it's so pathetic. They quoted her saying just the part where she said, "We will go to war with Iran." Right? They quoted that, Kamala Harris, and then they said, "See, tell me these political parties aren't different." And then I looked up the quote when she said that, and then they explained that was her response when asked the question. The question was, "What would you do if Iran attacked?" No, she said not war. She said we would attack Iran. They just put that quote up about Kamala Harris. See, I told you the political parties ain't no different. And then I looked up the quote. And it came back saying that was the response to her question. And the question was, what would you do if Iran attacked Israel? Right. I think they said a nuclear attack, too. Let me just let me pull this up so you could see, because I don't want anybody thinking I'm just making up shit. But it is really discerning. Oh, no, was it Hillary Clinton? It was Hillary Clinton. Yeah, here we go. Now, let me show you. It says, if I'm president, we will attack Iran. That is what the person posted, right? If I am president, I will attack Iran. Can you see that? If I'm a president, you see that? We will attack Iran. Hillary Clinton. And then it says, tell me again how the candidates and political parties are so different, right? Now watch this. And this is what actually was there. This is the truth about it. Can you see that? Oh, yeah, I can't see it. I better read it. It says, you're not, okay, it says here, the missing context. This is key. She was responding to a specific hypothetical question. What would the U.S. do if Iran launched a nuclear attack on Israel? And she responded. That was her response. Her response was, if I'm president, we will attack. But that's all they posted. You see? So people, we got to be careful. Like in this election cycle, there's going to be all types of people trying to skew your mind, tell you who you should trust, who you shouldn't trust. But you just need to understand right now, there are people that are comfortable with openly lying, like over the net. And these are people that could be seemingly like, it could look like you should trust them. Maybe you might think you have a reason to trust them, but they're very partisan and they're just going to throw out a bunch of lies about the Democratic Party primarily. That's who gets most of the junk. I hate to say it that way, but it's true. Now, don't get me wrong. I criticize Hillary Clinton, but I'm not going to lie about her. I'm not going to make up lies about Kamala Harris. I'm just not going to do it. Just say whatever the true criticism is and be accurate, but don't skew it and don't take the context out, because that's unfair to Americans. But in any case, let's move on here. Let's see here. Volkswagen says they're building a missile. Yeah, they're building a They make weapons. They already make weapons. Volkswagen. They already have I don't know if they're partnered with another company. It's not Israel. They're thinking about doing it with Israel, but they already make weapons, Volkswagen. So, yeah. So that's how they do it. Let's talk about the Bush-Clinton crime family. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think they're so smart to follow up on, since you got another crime family in charge right now. You might want to focus on them. You know what I'm saying? Because now we want to talk about universal health care again. Well, for me, it's an important thing, because it's not like you talk about universal health care a lot and you don't talk about the healthcare system a lot, and it's a midterm election, and the only way you're going to get change is if the public talks about it. Politicians don't change when the public doesn't care. So you got to give them something to care about. You see what I mean? And if you only care about foreign wars or trannies, then you ain't going to get anything about energy. Today, we didn't just talk about healthcare, although the picture says that. We talked about healthcare. We talked about energy, the Pacts behind the energy companies. We talked about a host of them. Just for the people that's just coming in, because, maybe they missed what we've been discussing, right? So let's go back. We talked about the crypto Pacts, right? We talked about the financing Pacts, right? We talked about the healthcare and pharma recipients, right? And we talked about energy. Okay. So, but now let's get on with the rest, because I think that was enough. I want to give a more deeper, in-depth presentation, but generally speaking, you get to see that it's important to know that there are other Pacts out there that affect your daily, everyday life. It's not just AIPAC. AIPAC is about Israel relations with Iran, or Israel relations with Palestinians. That's it. It has zero to do with your health care, zero to do with your energy prices, zero to do with the housing, zero to do with all of that shit. So you just need to understand there's super PACs that are behind lobbying to make you pay more for shit in America. And they lobby the left and they lobby the right. And you need to talk about it right now, because there's a midterm election coming up. And if you don't generate enough attention and enough knowledge, if enough awareness about this stuff, you won't be picking and you won't be voting, for candidates that are fighting, in your best interest. And you won't even be pushing them to do the right thing. You see what I mean? Because you can't push people if you're not aware either. You can't, it just doesn't work that way. So, but in any case, let me flip over here now and get to something fun. And it was, we got to have a little fun. It can't just be about the information. Otherwise, people would get bored. So let me see here. Boom. Let's get it going. Here we go. Here we go, folks. Changing plans. Guess who changed on everybody? Israel and Iran changed. So no more deal. No more deals happening. That deal that happened, that was settled yesterday, it's off now. This is crazy.
Just hours since President Trump announced a 2-week ceasefire with Iran, but this morning that temporary truce is looking fragile at best. Moments ago, an Iranian news agency reported Tehran halted oil tankers' traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. Reopening the strait to commerce, of course, was a key part of the deal the president and his administration says Iran signed on to. Listen to Secretary Hegseth this morning.
What has been agreed to, what's been stated, is the strait is open. Our military is watching. I'm sure their military is watching, but commerce will flow.
One of Iran's demands in exchange was that Israel end its bombardment of Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. The Israelis say they never agreed to that, and the strikes continue today, as you can see here in Beirut.
In terms of this latest news, obviously the ceasefire has only been live for less than 24 hours. And the fact that Iran can still close the Strait of Hormuz in just a whim is going to strengthen the U.S.'s resolve to ensure that it does not control or retain sort of sole control of the strait going forward. And obviously, when it comes to if the ceasefire is still ongoing, when it comes to ensuring a permanent deal, both sides are going to be very far apart on that particular issue. Stephen.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The White House spent last night and this morning on a victory lap, declaring that President Donald Trump had pulled off a masterstroke by reopening the Strait of Hormuz. That was somewhat of an absurd claim because the Strait of Hormuz, of course, was open before he launched this war that was opposed by much of the world. But this new apparent closure will undercut the not only the White House claim that Trump has pulled off a massive victory here, and that the Strait of Hormuz issue is not even going to be something that's going to be contentious going forward. I think it shows why a lot of people are arguing that despite all the propaganda coming out of Washington, the United States has absorbed a strategic defeat here, because it shows that going forward, at any moment, even a few hours into a ceasefire, Iran has the capacity to close that strait and create, again, that chokehold on the global economy. So I think it's going to be very irksome to the White House. The question is, how will they respond? Will they try to pretend this isn't happening, that it's just a teething problem? Or at some point, will President Trump's credibility and prestige and red lines again come into play in such a way as he has to take some military action, and then we're back where we were before?
Now we're seeing the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Just talk about how the escalation after the ceasefire last night has only increased.
Yeah, there are multiple sensitivities here. There are multiple narratives, not least what we've heard from Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, not least what we've heard from a whole variety of Iranian officials who both sides claiming victory. So
yeah, I saw Jethro. Who was that? Who wrote that? Was it Dang? Dang wrote that he saw a documentary. Oh yeah, Dang Anonymous wrote, I just watched a documentary on Iran, Persia. It's worth watching and learning about. Okay, put the name in the chat. Yeah, I mean, Persia's got a ancient history, a great history, you know, worth knowing, and it intersects with a lot of other groups' histories too. So yeah, definitely.
You have that, and it's not clear what precisely has been agreed. Pakistan's ambassador to the UN said that Pakistan's prime minister had sent he didn't describe it as a text on agreement, but an understanding to both the US and Iran, who had agreed to it. He didn't say precisely what was in it. He said that was bounded by secrecy to let the sides work out what are clearly very big differences at the moment. He spoke about the Pakistan's prime minister in his statement having primacy in this situation because it had been accepted by both Iran and the United States. And as you say, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu very clear that he doesn't see Lebanon as part of that ceasefire agreement, which is a difference with the Pakistani Prime Minister. Indeed, Israel launching its heaviest, by its own statement a few hours ago, its heaviest strike on Hezbollah targets inside of Lebanon, some of them deep inside of Beirut, coordinated against 100 targets. So has that led to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz? It's very hard to say, but it is certainly one of the many threads and strands of the lack of clarity, of the lack of certainty where everyone stands, of the multi-sided nature of what's been happening. Iran has,
yeah, what's up?
It appears.
What's up, Matt? I see you openly saying Ukraine wants to destroy Hungary is BS. Yeah, facts. I agree 100%. It shows you how insidious the lying and the misinformation is. But also you have to be ignorant to not understand that Ukraine is being attacked and invaded by Russia. They're the ones defending themselves, you know. But of course, if you want to believe the conspiracy theory that they're the ones threatening Russia and that, you know, Russia came in to denazify Ukraine, is that what you want to believe? And again, I've been saying this. How is it you can't be two-faced? Anybody, look, you could be two-faced if you want. I'm not two-faced. Me myself, I'm against the Russia invading Ukraine, and I'm against the U.S. invading Iran. Very simple. It's called principles. Very simple. It's not hard to understand that. But there are so many people that are against one and for the other. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. And Iran, I'm glad you brought that up. Iran sold drones to Russia to attack Ukraine. Well, what is in Iran's interest? Why is Ukraine Iranian interest? See, this is where I disagree with the regime 100%. Like, something's wrong with them. Why are you funding Russia to attack another sovereign country? That's bullshit. And Iran, keep this in mind. I'm not for the U.S. attacking Iran. I'm totally against it. It's unwarranted. It's unwarranted. But how do you say they make it difficult because they're supporting Russia invading Ukraine? Why are you supporting anyone invading somebody? Why? And also the U.S. Why are we supporting Israel invading people? Why are we? And I'm not saying that that's actually good. I'm saying that's bad too. So this is not going to stop until everybody mans up and says, I'm willing to stop it myself. This ain't going to stop because they're all in a little competition with each other. No, I won't stop if you don't stop. Only if you stop will I stop. You did this last week. Now I'm going to do this to you. And then the next week it's like, oh, you did this to us. Now we're going to do this to you. This is literally what you're watching on a global scale. There's more contradictions here. Iran did. Listen, let me just pull this up on the screen just so people understand how insidious this is. Did Iran support troll farms on the internet to spread disinformation about Kamala Harris that favored Trump? I mean, seriously, this is during the election cycle. This is how insidious it is. You just got to see this for yourself. Look, actually, the situation was, okay, hold on. Damn, what? They said it was the opposite. According to the U.S. intelligence agency, including FBI and ODNI, the cybersecurity report, Microsoft and Google, Iran's 2024 influence operations were specifically designed to undermine Trump. What? I read the exact opposite before. What is this? Okay, while Russia is often cited for operations that favor Republican candidates, Iran's motivations are different. Iranian leadership likely remembers the maximum pressure campaign from the first Trump administration, including the withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal and the assassination of Gerald Qasem Soleimani, and sought to prevent a second term. Okay, here's the breakdown. Okay, so they're saying that they actively worked against Trump this time around, but let's see here. The hack and leak against Trump. I don't know what. I read I read the opposite of that they actually, and not only Iran, hold on. What about China? This is interesting. Let me just go back. Damn. So maybe maybe I was wrong about that. It basically that have to be what it is, and nobody's perfect. But let me see here. Exploiting Gaza conflict, the U.S. intelligence confirmed that Iran covertly supported and amplified pro-Palestinian protests on university campuses that posed as student activists online, and in some cases provided financial assistance to protesters. Okay, protest organizers. The goal here was to stoke internal discord with the Democratic base, specifically targeting the Biden. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. So, look, that happened, and that did split the base of the Democratic Party. And that split in the base of the Democratic Party is what I keep talking about all the time, and what Friars was also talking about, right? He keeps saying, that's why Kamala lost. That's why Kamala lost. And if you look at the report released by the Democrats, they even say that's one of the reasons, one of the main reasons, not the only, but one of the main reasons. So I interpret that to mean that's why Trump won. Simple. And then if you do that and you split the base of the Democrats and the consequence is Trump wins, well, Trump is bombing your ass right now. You see what I mean? This doesn't make any sense. That's what I'm saying. It's all crazy shit, man. This is not good to watch. You might want to pick. You might have the desire inside of you to pick a side. Yo, this is all wasted energy. They're all bad actors. Iran, Russia, Trump, United States, right? They're all bad actors right now. This is not responsible. You know, nobody should want to back anybody involved in this. I'm telling you, this is craziness. It just never fucking ends. And again, things at home aren't going to get better by dealing with a waste of energy like this. The problems at home are not going to get solved when people participate in this crazy stuff. And I'm not against Iranian people. I'm not against Iran. I'm not against Russian people. But the government's actions, you know, this is like, and Trump too. I'm not for Trump. I'm totally against Trump. In fact, Trump is the biggest fool of them all. You know, he's the biggest fucking fool. He's the biggest idiot. I mean, how did he find himself in this situation? What's even worse is that it's the people that want to be a part. Netanyahu wants to be a part of this. He wanted this to happen. Putin, what is he doing? He's invading Ukraine, trying to make excuses about why that is cool. Iran is sending drones to Russia to invade Ukraine. Trump is invading Iran. It's like this shit is just going around in a circle. What's next? You know, what is next? Really? Is Russia going to invade Israel? What the fuck? You don't know. You don't know which way it's going to go. It's just like a merry-go-round and shit. And I'm just saying, these are the kind of things you want to avoid. You know, there's more contradictions in this engagement, what's going on right now. But I just don't know how. Me, myself, I'm not for any of it. I'm always going to be on the side of the invader. I mean, you know, the person, not the invader, the person is getting invaded. I'm sorry, the invadee. I'm always going to be on the side of the invadee. So Ukraine is getting invaded, and so they don't have a choice. That's where I'm at. So the Palestinians, they're getting invaded. They don't have a choice. Iran's being invaded. They don't have a choice. The only person that being invaded is Russia and shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, seriously, that's crazy, right? Russia and Israel, they're not being invaded. I mean, it's worth noting. It's just worth noting. Let me see here. Let's go. Let's go. Said we won. Oh, really? Okay. Well, good for you, man. I'm glad. Who you talking about? Who's we? Because the news ain't said it. Yeah, that sounds so funny. Yeah, we won. That's right. Trump said so. That's right. I heard Trump say it. Let me see here. Zappa said, who's to say Iran hasn't already been supplied a nuke by Russia? I mean, who's to say that? Who's to say Israel doesn't have a nuke? Who's to say the U.S. doesn't have a nuke? Who's to say, who's to say? Who's to say? Yeah, how does that change anything? What you gonna do? You gonna blow up the nuke? You gonna take the nuke from them? What you gonna do about it? You gonna invade on the ground, go down into the bunker and grab the nuke and escape? Is that the plan? Sometimes the smart thing to do is to know when not to be involved in dumb shit. Sometimes that's the best move, right? You know what I mean? You don't always have to go head first and shit into things because you've been invited. Let me see here. Matt says North Korea, Pakistan, India, China, UK, USA, France all have nukes. Some have them, but never owned up like Israel. Maybe some. Yeah, exactly. I personally don't think having a nuke changes really much. It's why do people be like, if they got a nuke, we got to stop them from having a nuke. What if they had a nuke? They're not crazy. Everyone. Yeah. What about Kim Jong-un? He got a nuke. Who else got a nuke? I mean, the first person that explodes a nuke is going to be the pariah on Earth, and every military is going to be like, take these people out. Everyone is going to go against that person. So I don't think anybody's going to be using nukes anytime soon. And the person who gives somebody a nuke that uses it is going to be in big trouble too, you know? Let me see here. Eric Weeson said, yes, U.S. will get their butt kicked. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's, I don't think, now don't get me wrong, they would kill a lot of people. Like, you know how Trump was like, he tried to make it look like the military that left Afghanistan, you know, the U.S. troops on the last couple of days that they were weak, or that they, listen, the military had two choices: either kill a whole lot of people and stay, or leave and take some fire. And they chose to leave. Biden wanted them out. If they had to stay, the only way it was possible to stay is to kill a lot of people. That's not cool. You know what I mean? So there's some situations where it doesn't matter how mighty you are. Is it worth it? You know? Yeah, like Trump is saying he could drop a nuke. The U.S. military could go there and kill a lot of people. But that's not winning. Killing a lot of people is not winning. That's not winning. That's just being crazy. You know what I mean? Let me see. Eric says, Eric says, what? We have won? Just curious. Okay. Yeah. Eric says again, because Russia and Iraq, just like that in China. Okay. We won. The Respect says we won the safest country ever in history. Okay. What country is that? I'm still trying to catch up. 19 trillion in fraud. Awesome. Yeah. Trump is, let's go. Exactly. That should be, nobody should be happy in the U.S. right now. There shouldn't be any proud of anything that's going on. Like, you got $19 trillion being committed and you proud of some invasion of any country. We shouldn't even be there. Personally, I say let Israel and Iran fucking blow each other up if they want. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't see how anyone else can stop them. They're both determined to not like each other. So what the fuck? I say, you know, I should probably stay out of it. Patrick says, can't avoid understanding these motivations. Looking at it from a surface level is not helpful. I would personally like to understand why Iran sent drones. Ignorance is not an option. Yeah, why the fuck did they send drones to Ukraine? Ukraine ain't do anything to them. That was an error, and I'm just saying that is a crime. I'm just being impartial and fair. That's for strange. What interest do they have, and what interest does Iran have in providing drones to Russia to use against Ukraine? So they want to help Russia just think about the logic here. They want to help Russia invade Ukraine. So how do you then say someone invading you is wrong? How do you make that argument when you're okay with people invading? So this administration in Iran is okay with Russia invading Ukraine. That doesn't help. That doesn't help their argument. You know, that's all I'm saying. And I don't agree with Trump and how he's dealing with it, but I just think they all so problematic, man. They're so problematic. Let me see here. Sixth Sense says United States, Russia as a successor to the Soviet Union, and France are the top 3 countries for total nuclear weapons tests. Oh, really? Okay. I didn't know that. Not okay. Let me see. Trump stealing taxpayer money and giving it to Israel is, yeah, that Americans, again, right now, we're the biggest fool in all of this. And it can be turned around, but without a brain and without smart leaders, you're not gonna stop people laughing at us right now. And people should laugh, because when you elect a jackass like Trump, what do you expect is gonna happen? What do you think? People aren't supposed to laugh at you? You're supposed to elect the best of your society. Instead, you showed the worst. What the fuck? And claim that the worst is the best? People should laugh. Trump can barely walk out on the stage, on the podium. They probably inject him with something just to keep his ass up and standing up. You know, he looks horrible, and first of all, his brain has always been horrible. What is his character and his mindset has always been horrible. But now it's just bad character, bad mindset, walking on a fucked up body, a body that looks like it's just about to fall out. Crow Craig says, invoke the 25th Amendment. Yeah, so J.D. Vance could be in power. J.D. Vance is young and he's worse. He's a sycophant. He's even worse, man. I don't know what he would do, but I'm scared of all. I just say get rid of all of them, But yeah, you got to do something at some point. But look, if J.D. Vance gets in power, you know who's in charge of the country? Peter Thiel and Elon Musk. Is that what you want? Or would you rather have a fool in charge of the country? Because these people got a plan, and their plan is to turn everybody into slaves. Like, so just, I don't know if you want J.D. Vance in charge. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. You should check out your comment a little bit, man. You wrote Jews got Obama, Bush, and Biden and Trump. You shouldn't say Jews do, because I don't think, first of all, that's not possible. But secondly, I think you mean Israel does. And Israel's a country. Jews are not a country. So just so you're aware of that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that means, right. Let me see. Invoke the 25th Amendment. Let me see here. Invoke the 25th Amendment. Who else wrote something here? France got okay. Trump will go down as the weakest. Yeah, Rafika, he's going to go down as the weakest president ever. In the sea when it was banned. Okay, testing. Yeah, the country. Yeah, that's true. Let me see who else. Matt says that was the worst thing about the Ukrainian war when they say Ukraine can win. No, they can't. Not totally. I mean, if people don't support Ukraine is fighting a hell of a fight, though. They're whipping Russia's ass. Like, I've seen recent reports in the last couple of days. It's not going well for Russia at all. They really killed. They lost 1 million dead or injured troops, seriously injured troops. Right, 1 million. Who the fuck does that? That's like World War II numbers in shorter time. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's a total embarrassment. But Ukraine is stopping them. So Ukraine is a dangerous force. They're dangerous. It's not wise to go to people's countries and try to invade them. That's just stupid. You don't have the moral high ground when you do that. So and the Russian troops are not really equipped to do it anyway. They were at one time, because Ukraine just got a standing army. They had to build a standing army in our lifetime. In 2014, they didn't even have a standing army. You got to understand that. In Obama's time, they didn't have a standing army. So you hear Trump criticizing Obama about supplying Ukraine with weapons, not supplying them enough. You can't give people weapons they don't know how to use. That's how they manipulate the public. The public, you got to be more interested in this. Take more note of this. It was impossible to give Ukraine more weapons that far back, because they barely had a standing army. The army had to be created and trained, and then you got to be trained to have the equipment that you get. It's like, but in any case, why is Iran sending drones to Russia to invade Ukraine? And the U.S., I'm just saying, is it karma? Is it karma? Is it karma? Who knows? I believe it's just smoke and mirrors, like Ukraine belonging to I don't know what that means. Man. You should go to Ukraine, man. People are dying, bro. I don't think you should say it's a hoax. You should go there. People are really goddamn dying. And I think going there will change your mind. It's not smoke and mirrors, man. They're defending themselves. Would you want to defend yourself if someone invaded your home? What would you do, Eric? Would you just want people to say, I think it's smoke and mirrors, man. That invasion of Eric's house is smoke and mirrors, bro. I don't think you would want that. And let me see. Eric Klein says, Iran getting help from Russia. Yeah, Iran's getting help from Russia. I mean, this is really a Russian conflict. This is a Russian-U.S. conflict. A lot of Russian sycophants don't like to mention Russia. But it's obvious this is proxy warfare with Israel and Iran. That's what it is. Palestinians are just caught in the middle. That's what that is. They're just they just are unfortunate. But the real issue is between Israel and Iran, and they're both pretty much proxy countries. It's sad. It's sad. This has been going on for a long time. Let's see here. Get rid of Temu Bibi, aka Zelensky, and it could end. What you mean get rid of Zelensky? Why you want to get rid of Zelensky? What does that have to do with it? What does he have to do with Bibi? You don't want to get rid of Putin? I mean, how long has Putin been in power versus Zelensky? How much power does Zelensky have versus Putin? I don't understand that, man. People, I don't get it. I just don't get it at all. Yes, Israel just been making foul out of Trump. Oh, man, they've been playing Trump's ass like big time. Trump's a fool for anybody, though, man. It's sad at this point. I don't know if it's people. They don't have to work hard to play Trump. Nobody does. That's apparent. Let me see here. Matt says, yes, Ukraine and Iran have done well because they are fighting for something that makes the biggest difference. Yeah. I think if it's true, man, Iran should not want, nobody should root for anybody invading somebody's country. Just very simple. And I think I have the same opinion about Ukraine. Nobody should root for Russia invading Ukraine. When you vote for Russia invading Ukraine, you're voting for somebody invading your country. And this is what we're seeing, because that's how karma works. Something as basic as sovereignty of your own country. If you can't stand up for that and support people in that, then the rest of the shit is gone. You know, you may as well just drop everything else, you know? Let me see here. What does it say? We need term limits in Congress. Absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent chat tonight. A lot of different opinions. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's good to have that too, actually. You know, at least we can discuss it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure we all listen. One thing about this point right here is that enough of us should be caught off guard in some way. Nobody could expect all of this to play out. Nobody was expecting it. So that's the good thing about it. It gives people an opportunity to test out their theories, because a lot of people had opinions about things 2 years ago they may not have this year, now that they've seen things play out. You see what I mean? And that's okay, because it's better to be wrong and correct it than to be wrong and stand on being wrong and just continue with dumb shit over and over and over. You know what I mean? If we want the world to get better, then we all need to expect that everybody's following the same rules and being fair about stuff. It's just that simple. And that means everybody. We got to stop. We got to stop objectifying people too. Like I was saying, we got to be cautious in our language, man. You know, like I said, the people that have a problem with Israel, those are not people that have problems with Jews. It shouldn't be a matter of their religion why you have the problem. The problem should be how the state is behaving, how the leadership is running the country. It shouldn't have something to do with them being Jewish any more than the United States has something to do with Trump being Christian. Is that you going to believe Trump? You believe J.D. Vance and Trump, that they're Christians? That the reason why they're doing this is because they just good Christians. They praying and shit. No, man, these are greedy bad actors. It wouldn't matter what religion they are. They're just the worst. They're just the worst. And same thing about Iran. I'm not trying to say Shiites is a bad religion, but we're not even talking about Shiites, really. We're talking about the government of Iran and what they do, what they're willing to do. That's all. You know, what that's got to do with the Shiites. Just because I can't account for somebody else's prayer. That's for them to account for. I can't vouch for that shit. You know what I'm saying? They talk about killing people and shit. And you're like, you're supposed to, in the next moment, think of religion and shit. Yeah, let me go pray now. Nah, I ain't doing that. It's the same thing with Trump. As a matter of fact, and it's the same thing for me with Trump, with Netanyahu, and Iran. I'm not praying with any of them. I'm sorry. I'm not praying over this. If they want to kill each other, that ain't got nothing to do with God. That's how I look at it. No need to pray after that one. It's just mixing up the worst energy and shit doing that too, you know. Go bomb some shit. Look at Trump. They think you can just go bomb some people and then have a fucking prayer breakfast so the next day.
Noi tutti sappiamo c'è stato anche questa minaccia contro tutto il popolo di Iran. E questo veramente non è accettabile. Qui ci sono questioni certamente di diritto internazionale, ma molto di più una questione morale per il bene del popolo completo, intero. E vorrei invitare tutti a pensare nel cuore veramente.
Man, he speaks great Italian. Is this Latin or Italian? Is he speaking Italian or Latin? It sounds like Italian. I didn't know he spoke Italian that well. Damn.
Di tanti innocenti, tanti bambini, tanti anziani, totalmente innocenti che sarebbero anche loro vittime di questa escalation di una guerra che ha cominciato già dai primi giorni. Dicevamo torniamo al dialogo, negotiations, cerchiamo come risolvere i problemi senza arrivare a questo punto. Invece siamo qui. Bisogna pregare tanto. Vorrei invitare tutti a pregare, ma anche a cercare come comunicare forse con i congressisti, con autorità, a dire che non vogliamo la guerra, vogliamo la pace. Siamo un popolo che ama la pace e c'è tanto bisogno di pace nel mondo.
Hey, no one says F America. No one. Where are you from? What country are you from? Care to share the country you from? Yeah. I think it's crazy. This stuff that's going on got nothing to do with religion. Although they might want to draw people into it. They might want to make it a religious war because you can make money on it. Is really okay. Australia. Yeah. Well, you know, what can I say? I don't understand that. You know, I don't say F America. It's not the people. It's not the land. It's the government. It's the particular government. Why would you just say fuck America, dude? Like, I would never say that about Australia. I would never say, have I ever said fuck Russia before? I don't speak that way because I'm not stupid. I know a big masses of Russian people do not like Putin at all. So you can't change things going at it that way. You know what I mean? And I would never say fuck Iran. You know what I mean? It's the government, man. You know, let's be adults about this. It's the government. And we need to, just like it's in the U.S., it's the government. Just like, and I'm not, you know, don't get me wrong. They all have Israel, just like in Israel, it's the government. They all have their excuses why they have to do this. I did this because the other one did this to me. This has been going on for decades. Like, Israel says they have to do this because somebody else did something to them. Iran says we have to do this because they all have excuses. Everybody got excuses. And Russia, yeah, it just goes on and on and on. Me myself, I can't vouch for any of it. Even the U.S. Role in it, I can't vouch for that. I can't vouch for it. You know, I see it. The only thing I see out of this is proxy war. That's all I see. I see Russia supporting Iran, U.S. supporting Israel, Israel doing whatever it wants, Iran doing whatever it wants, basically. You know, and I see Russia sitting on the sideline trying not to comment too much, and I see Trump all the way out there trying to comment on everything and just having no effect whatsoever. You know. Yeah, that's what I see, you know. Yeah, no one says America's been doing this forever. Well, you know, hey man, a lot of, you know, I won't say that I think the issue with the US is that it does do things that are bad. It makes mistakes. I mean, we went to Vietnam. Why did we need to go to Vietnam? But again, this is proxy warfare. It could easily turn out that, you know, if you don't go, someone else gets hurt. You know what I mean? Like, what was this about the North and the South Vietnamese? Where was the split? What was this about the North and the South Korea? Do you really think it's this issue is sponsored from the outside, or do you think it's conflicts on the ground inside and then countries being involved? You see, is that a fact? Is it a fact? I don't know. But I do know with this, if you go to Vietnam, you will hear people have different opinions about the others. You go to South Korea, North Korea, you will hear a different story. You won't hear this thing verbatim like you're hearing that, oh, well, this, you will hear like, no, there was some conflicts with the groups of people on the ground. So I think, I'm not trying to say that other countries don't become problematic, but I think that's part of it too. They get invited into the problem, and and maybe they don't even care about fixing the problem. They just care about their own interests. Hence proxy. You see what I'm saying? Maybe they don't really care if the problem gets solved. They just want their side to not lose, or they just want their interests protected, not really the people on the ground. So there's intersections there, but that's how I look at it. And I would tell people, be cautious about inviting countries, be cautious about taking up the mantle of other countries, and be cautious about inviting countries into your conflicts. Look at what's going on in Sudan. Sudan got a whole bunch of foreign countries funding that war on both sides. Hold on both sides. Is it on both sides? Some Africans are supporting. Let's look at it this way. Who are behind the Sudanese war? Which other countries support either side with weapons? It's important to get into details. Generalization doesn't bring awareness to like what's really happening. And it's just to give an example. But before we go on, I got a little more time, maybe 1 more hour, so I'm going to check this out. But look, the war in Sudan is brutal power struggle between two generals who were once allies, okay, but now are destroying the country to decide who gets to rule it. Because this is 2026, the conflicts has evolved into a major regional proxy war, with several countries shipping in advanced weapons to ensure their preferred side wins. The core combatants, right? The war is primarily fought between two military factions. Okay, the Sudanese army forces SAF, led by General Abdel Fattah, right? Al-Burhan. They are the official national army and hold the seat of government in Port Sudan. Then there's the other side, the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, led by General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo. Okay. This is a massive paramilitary group that grew out of the Janjaweed militias. Okay. Who is arming who? The war has become a guns for gold and influence for access marketplace. Here's the breakdown of foreign support as of early 2026. Supporting the SAF, the army, right? The SAF is framed by its backers as the legitimate government fighting a rebellion. Egypt, the most consistent supporter. Egypt views the RSF as a dangerous militia and provides the SAF with drones, pilot training, and intelligence. Iran, you see, since late 2024, Iran has significantly increased its support, providing Mohair 6 drones and technical expertise to the SAF in exchange for potential access to the Red Sea port. Okay, Turkey provides Bayraktar drones and other military hardware. So this is interesting because Turkey and Iran are on the same side here, supporting the same side in this one. You see? So Russia, the pivot. Russia has played both sides. But as 2026, the Kremlin has leaned towards the SAF to secure a long-sought naval base on the Red Sea coast, okay? Supporting the RSF, paramilitaries, right? This is the other side now. The RSF is a wealthy organization that controls many of Sudan's gold mines, using the wealth to buy high-end weaponry. United Arab Emirates, UAE, widely identified by the UN and international investigators as the primary patron of the RSF. The AUE is accused of flying weapons, ammunition, and even medical supplies to the RSF via humanitarian routes through Chad and Ethiopia. You see that? Ethiopia. Recent intelligence from 2026 indicates Ethiopia has allowed the RSF to operate from covert bases near its border, like the Asosa base, to launch attacks on the SAF. The Wagner Group, Russia's Africa Corps. While the Russian government now courts the army, Russian mercenaries, formerly Wagner, have historically supplied RSF with surface-to-air missiles and training, largely to protect Russian interests in the Sudan gold mines. 3. The why. What do these countries want? What do they want? Okay, none of these countries are helping for free. I mean, let me just look at the chat. You see how people get into, we play this morals game about the U.S., Iran, Israel, who else? Russia, all of this moral game. It's all about who's right. Who's really doing right here? Who's always done wrong? Soon as you flip over to Sudan, the conversation just totally changes. You see what I mean? No one's doing this shit to help anybody. They want stuff. This is not even ideological for any of the people supporting it at all. So can you kind of understand proxy warfare from that perspective? You have the bigger superpower proxy warfare going on in the crux of the Middle East, right? You got Russia supporting Iran, China supporting Iran, U.S. supporting Israel, supporting Saudi Arabia too. Which is why this is probably never going to change, because the superpowers are just standing on the outside looking at the battlefield, thinking about their interest. You see what I'm saying? They're thinking about their interest while they're looking at it, the superpowers. But inside of Sudan, the minor powers, and then also Russia, they're playing a proxy game. You see what I mean? Which is crazy. I mean, they got their own proxy game going on in inside of the country. Here. Let's see here. Boom. Can I go to this one? Right. It's this one, right? Okay. So yeah, let me just open this up so we can see a little more here what this is about to say. Here we go. So should I make it bigger? It's big enough. Can y'all see that? Let me see here. Right. I'll just make this a little bigger so it's easier to see. Here we go. All right. So we got countries. Strategic goal in Sudan. United Arab Emirates, control over gold export and a foothold in the Red Sea. Iran, a naval presence on the Red Sea to project power towards Israel and Saudi Arabia. Egypt, national security. They need a stable, traditional military neighbor to secure the Nile River. Russia, guns for gold to fund their war in Ukraine and a permanent Red Sea naval port. The result. Okay, 4, a drone war. By 2026, the conflict has shifted from ground skirmishes to heavy drone warfare. Because of the influx of Iranian and Turkish drones for the SAF and the UAE supplied tech for the RSF. Right. You see that? The UAE supplied tech for the RSF. Okay. And then here, Iran, Turkish drones. You see that? So that's important to note. Okay. But because of the drone thing, the civilian toll has skyrocketed, right? Cities like El Fasher have been decimated by remote strikes funded by these external backers. Okay. Now let me see here. What else is there about that conflict? Let me see. Let me see. Which other African countries are involved outside of Egypt and Sudan? I'm just curious about that. Maybe they said Chad, something like that. The RSF maybe is okay. Let's see. I just want to ask that. All right, right. Beyond Egypt and Sudan, the war is pulled in almost every neighbor in East and Central Africa. You talk about proxy. By April 2026, the conflict has created a spillover effect. While neighboring countries aren't just hosting refugees, they are acting as logistical hubs or active participants. Here are the other African countries deeply involved. Chad, the RSF's gateway. Chad is perhaps the most critical backdoor in this war. You see what's going on here? So this is another dimension, right? People should be curious about, we all have our perspective about what's going on. Maybe I'm American living in Denmark, so I have my perspective. Maybe someone else is from some other country. They have a different perspective on it, on what's going on there, who's right, who's wrong, or just what their concerns are, what the main concern should be, right? But when you look at the other countries on the ground that are involved, you could kind of see there's something else going on. And where do we, the people on the outside, where do we begin to care about what's really going on in the other countries that are involved? When do we share their perspective? A lot of us are sharing the Iranian perspective, the Russian perspective, the U.S. perspective, the Chinese perspective. By the way, China's involved here too. But what about the groups on the ground? What about, what should we think about what Chad thinks, for example? Should we have an opinion about that? What should we think about Ethiopia? Should we care about their opinion on that? Does their opinion matter? I don't know. What do you think? Eritrea, should their opinion matter? They're just on the ground there. South Sudan, should their opinion matter? They're just in Africa. Or should my opinion matter? Should my opinion matter more? Should, you know what I'm saying? Who in the chat lives in Eritrea, Chad, Ethiopia? Anybody here from any one of those countries? You know what I'm saying? Like, we act like we're the ones that's supposed to know who's right and who's wrong. I mean, and I really do think that this just is like your opinion is an uneducated. Basically, it is an uneducated one, but it's not only just uneducated. I'm not one of them. It's, what would my opinion matter? You see what I'm saying? Why would even if it was educated? Yeah, but what if my opinion is different from theirs? Would it matter? You see what I'm saying? You see what I mean? Like, I'm not Eritrean. So why would, even if I got an educated opinion, why would it matter? Why would my opinion matter? Even if my opinion is educated, I'm not the one living in Eritrea. I'm not living in Chad. You see what I mean? Wouldn't their opinions always matter more? I don't live in Ukraine. Shouldn't Ukrainian opinions matter? Or is it mine that's going to matter? I think without their opinion mattering, it doesn't matter what my opinion is, educated or not. And I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. You know, no one's like, no, I don't know. Okay, y'all having you guys are talking to each other. Yeah. But I just kind of think I encourage people to look at the other dynamics at play here. You see what I mean? There's other stuff going on. Let me see. You know, so now that you know that Eritrea has an opinion about what's going on, Ethiopia has an opinion of. To me, it seems like the Africans are supporting the ASF. I mean, I just have to say that. To me, it looks like the Southern Africans are supporting the ASAF. That's what it looks like to me. It seems like external forces and Arab nations are supporting the government. Fryer said, stopping the genocide is what you need to take care of. No, I don't know what that means, Friars. I don't know what you mean by that, because discussing who's involved could be seen as helping to stop the genocide. Awareness. You see what I mean? But again, you see what I mean? There's a lot of people that think awareness doesn't have a role in actions. And for me, I tend to think that no, awareness definitely has a huge role in the outcome. The less awareness, the longer it goes on. The less awareness, the more confusion exists. The less awareness, the less people are going to be able to do anything about it. That's kind of how I approach it. You know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of players here that people typically don't look at and don't talk about. And the reason why I say this is because I talk to a lot of people. This is the first time I heard anybody raise up the issue of Chad, Eritrea, and Ethiopia. Period. And they're neighbors to Sudan. And also South Sudan. You see what I mean? Yeah. I just think that's very interesting dynamic. Yeah. I just think it's something people just need to, like I said, don't oversimplify it. Don't generalize it. Just look at the detail and maybe the outcomes will be different. But on that note, I think this is all a clusterfuck. I think Americans need to get this shit together about what's going on in the United States of America. Like, that's got to be a big priority, because right now, while you're trying to be involved in the rest of the world, everybody else is being treated better than you in the West. I don't know if you find that to be a suitable point of engaging others with. You know what I mean? Being last in the West shouldn't be your strong suit in engaging others. You should first have a pretty good standard of life as far as Western nations are concerned, the average American, and then use that as a base to engage others with. You see what I mean? That's what I choose, because I don't think the rest of the people are going to just stop, because no matter what you think, you know what I mean? I don't think they're just going to stop. There's too many different perspectives going on in the Middle East for it to just stop. You just saw Netanyahu, after they made a deal, they spent all this time doing a deal. You just saw Netanyahu be like, man, fuck that deal. And Iran say, fuck that deal. Still want to spend more time talking about it. I just think it's so weird. It's so weird. But in any case, let's move on. It's a few other things. Let me just hear what Lioness Caroline Levitt had to say about this. I'm sure she had some entertaining lies, but nonetheless, we got to hear what they were exactly. Let's see here. Come on, Caroline, talk it up.
John, go ahead. Thanks a lot, Caroline. Two questions for you. One has to do with a joint statement put out this morning by some of America's.
Let's look at her face.
European allies, our NATO allies, and in that
she looks annoyed. Look at that. Oh, you see that? She just hates to hear that. Our NATO allies, our European allies. You see her just close her eyes like, again? You're going to ask that question again, Tom?
Joint statement.
Here we go.
5 decades. John, go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. Two questions for you. One has to do with a joint statement put out this morning by some of America's European allies, our NATO allies. And in that joint statement, they said, regarding the Strait of Hormuz, our governments will contribute to ensuring freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. What's the administration's reaction to that joint statement? Does that smooth things over when the president meets with NATO Secretary General a little bit later this afternoon?
I have a direct quote from the President of the United States on NATO, and I will share it with all of you. They were tested and they failed. And I would add, it's quite sad that NATO turned their...
Hey, there's a NATO base, a NATO air base in Germany. The pilot that was lost and then rescued was taken to that NATO base in Germany. He got care there at that NATO base. That's Germany allowed U.S. troops to be there. That's cooperation with the Americans. You see what I mean? Had they not had that base there, they would have had to go all the way back to the U.S. first, pretty much. So while he's out here making statements like this, saying that they failed, okay, is that what you call failure? Helping the rescued pilot get medical help?
Smooth things over when the president meets with NATO Secretary General a little bit later this afternoon.
I have a direct quote from the President of the United States on NATO, and I will share it with all of you. They were tested and they failed. And I would add, it's quite sad that NATO turned their backs on the American people over the course of the last 6 weeks when it's the American people.
You see that? That's so weird. Here, let me pull that up. Let's see here. What NATO base was the what was it called? Pilot, right? Rescued pilot, right? Rescued pilot taken for medical care. All right, let me pull that up. And yeah, because you want to know that, right, Fires? Yeah, I'm not sure what the base is, but let's pull it up here just to make sure we got this correct. Yeah, because you never know, there could be some details that's missing. The rescued airmen from the high stakes April 2026 operation in Iran were taken to, okay, there's more than one. Were taken to Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany for specialized care. So again, listen to Caroline Leavitt's phony ass and president.
That joint statement, does that smooth things over when the president meets with NATO Secretary General a little bit later this afternoon?
I have a direct quote from the President of the United States on NATO, and I will share it with all of you. They were tested and they failed. And I would add, it's quite sad that NATO turned their backs on the American people over.
So you see that? So this is just, I don't understand what she's talking about. And yes, it's Ramstein, located near Ramstein Airport Base, right? It's near it. Landstuhl is the primary NATO and U.S. military hospital for service members evacuated from combat zones in the Middle East and Africa. Yes. So at the very time that NATO and Germany, an ally, is playing a role in the care and medical treatment of these pilots, they're criticizing them playing that role. That I'm sorry, that's just being despicable. She's just being despicable, and she's not trying to be truthful. It's just straight up lying to the public. That's pathetic.
What's the administration's reaction to that joint statement? Does that smooth things over when the president meets with NATO Secretary General a little bit later this afternoon?
I have a direct quote from the President of the United States on NATO, and I will share it with all of you. They were tested and they failed. And I would add, it's quite sad that NATO turned their backs on the American people over the course of the last 6 weeks when
somebody said in the chat, well, supposed to be defensive. That is defensive. And it's not supposed to be one type of action. It's all or nothing. So if you get help with something, you got help, period. And you should be happy and thankful that you got the help that you got, especially while you're talking shit about it. Okay. Because your country is fucked up. The United States government has the nerve to be talking about any other Western country because it doesn't even give a fuck about its own people like other Western nations do. Like, just straight up. But medical care is definitely what you might want. And that's not the only time. These are not the only two people getting medical care at NATO facilities. You see what I mean? Like, period. This is just the two you're hearing about. They got a whole facility operating there for people that are being injured. Where? From NATO. Here, let's talk about it. Here we go. So people can learn more, right? Okay. Located near Ramstein. Okay. Evacuated combat zones in the Middle East and Africa. Okay. Two places. They get sent there. So anybody getting evacuated from there is getting sent there. It's not just one person, one time. Okay. Details of the operation, April 3rd, down aircraft F-15E Strike Eagle from 494th Fighter Squadron based in RAF Lakenheath was shot down over southwestern Iran during an ongoing conflict. The pilot was rescued within hours on the crash, hours of the crash, and Friday, April 3rd, the weapons systems officer, WSO, and colonel was rescued on April 5th after evading Iranian forces in the Zagros Mountains for 2 days. Casualties. So there were casualties of war. So you have to make a clear distinction here. Do you value help with your casualties or not? And what do you do when you get help for your casualties? What is the proper response to that help? Okay. I'm just curious, casualties and medical status. The WSO was extracted in serious condition. Oh, it was serious condition? So they needed serious help. It was a serious situation. Is it worth acknowledging publicly right here by Caroline Levitt or not? Not if she wants to play politics. That means playing politics means she can just lie and cover up shit, period. And she's lying and covering it up to the American people. She ain't covering it up over here. I read the European news. That's how I know they brought the fucking officers over there. She's just not going to talk about it, And has legacy media talked about it? I'm curious. I don't know. Has Fox News talked about that? Fox News didn't send anybody over there to talk to them. Okay, the WSO, while extracted in serious condition with the significant injuries, but was stabilized by special operations medics before being transported to. Okay, so they were stabilized before being transported to where? Germany, not home to the U.S. Germany. I guess it's better there. The medical care must be better in Germany. Why? Yeah, why? Why Germany? Look at this question. Why Germany? That's a good question. Why, Caroline Levitt? Why Germany? Why there? Caroline Levitt, I want to ask you a question. Why? Can you see me, Caroline Levitt? Why? Why Germany? You tell me why. Did you beg them to go there? All right. In major conflicts involving U.S. and NATO forces, Landstuhl serves as the level, 5 trauma center. Patients are typically stabilized at a forward operations base, FOB, in the region, often in Kuwait or the UAE, before being flown to the via C-17 Globemaster 3 or MC-130 to Germany. The base provides the highest level of care outside the continental United States of America. Wow, our troops are really lucky that exists, that Germany gives us the right to be there as allies. It's nice when you have good allies like that. Caroline, good for nothing, Levitt.
It's the American
reaction to that.
But you wouldn't hear when she talks. She's like, "What? I didn't hear about nothing. Those good for nothing Americans. That base in Germany ain't shit."
Statement, does that smooth things over when the president meets with NATO Secretary General a little bit later this afternoon?
I have a direct quote from the President of the United States on NATO, and I will share it with all of you. They were tested and they failed. And I would add, it's quite sad that NATO turned their backs on the American people over the course of the last 6 weeks, when it's the American people who have been funding their defense. As you know, President Trump will be meeting with Secretary Rutte in a couple.
That's a lie. The American people haven't been funding Europe's defense. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And they just keep repeating that lie. They use that lie to trick American peoples out of getting anything out of their own tax dollars. United States American people, taxpayer, have been funding war everywhere else instead of health care in their own country. Okay, Trump said he was going to get out of foreign wars. Well, the American people under this administration have been doing nothing but funding foreign war, nothing inside of the country. And she's trying to distract you by making it sound like Europe. We've been paying for Europe's. Man, Europeans, listen to this bullshit. Listen to this bullshit. You have a person that's a member of a Western country that is openly lying to all of you. This is sad. This is pathetic. And this is what a right winger in the United States of America sells to the population. So these right wingers are not your fucking friends. They're not your friends at all. You know, they don't have dignity. They don't have good morals and good ethics, at least to be truthful and to be real. Also, intelligence. You know, she don't have no goddamn intelligence, man. She's just up there almost like this has no consequences for security. Well, you're going to be paying for your security all by yourself now, United States of America, because you won't have allies helping on anything, you know? Until Trump is gone, you know, until J.D. Vance and Trump is gone, no one's going to trust the U.S. again.
Of hours here at the White House, and I know he looks forward to having a very frank and candid conversation with him.
And then secondly, in regards to this conflict, 38 days, as you pointed out, President Trump has said that there's been regime change.
Coaching, what state do you live in and who's your healthcare provider? What country are you coming from? You wrote, you are lying. You have no idea what you're talking about. No, I'm saying that to you. That's you took my words. I'm saying, Coaching, you are a liar. You have no idea what you're talking about. That's why you came here, to listen and learn.
Has that regime change led to more freedoms for the Iranian people?
I think that's a question that's being asked a little bit too early, John, and we hope that is the case, but it's something that has yet to be seen.
Ooh, she's sad. It's something that we hope they come to our rescue, boo. It's something we haven't seen yet. Boo, we need your help. Trump said you don't need the help. Now she's over here begging for the help again. I mean,
Eamon.
Caroline, on this question of tolling by the Iranians in the Strait of Hormuz, I've heard you talk about a number of red lines that the president has in this negotiation, but I haven't heard you say that Iranian tolling in the Strait of Hormuz is a red line. Would it be acceptable to the United States at the end of all this if the Iranians are able to charge tolls in the Strait of Hormuz?
I think the president was very clear and simplistic in his language last night in his Truth Social post, where he said that this ceasefire is subject to the free, safe, and immediate reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. That's very plain language, and it should be taken at face value.
You mean free
Carrie.
charge?
oh, she just jumped over the fact that it's closed now.
Carrie, go ahead. Without limitation, including tolls, yes. Carrie.
Quick follow-up on the tolling. Why would the U.S. allow Iran to collect tolls from the Strait of Hormuz? That's not something that we've opposed for a number of years now.
Again, that's
Damn, sounds like the U.S. capitulated on the Iran deal.
It's not something we've said.
How do you feel? Those of you that support Trump in the chat, do you think Trump has handled this well? Put a 1 in the chat if you think he's handled this well. Put a 2 in the chat if you think he hasn't handled this well at all. Only the Trump fans, only the people that support Trump. Yeah.
That we've definitively accepted. The joint venture is something that was proposed.
Yo, Abby, exactly. Trump's talking about invading Greenland, and now he wants Europe help opening the strait. Exactly. How do you do both? He's attacking allies, and he's begging allies to help him. Sorry, buddy, it ain't happening. It just doesn't work that way. You actually have to you have to not attack your allies in order to get their help. You have to not threaten to invade them. He threatened to invade Canada. You know, what the fuck is wrong with this dude? And now it's almost like he forgot from one day to the next. You know what I'm saying? He got two different Jekyll and Hyde. That's what Trump is doing right now. It's Jekyll and Hyde, and it can happen. Look, he even went out there and was like, we don't need their help, but we need their help. It would be nice if they help, but we never needed their help. He just like flips it all around, and he leaves people like Caroline Levitt in a lot of trouble because she has to explain his nonsense in public, and you can see no one is able to do it, you know. But the problem with Caroline Levitt is she takes it out on the media like there's trick questions. No, man, the dude is literally talking out both sides of his neck every day, and she just is like firing, trying to get people kicked out of the White House press room and shit for asking her about all the shit Trump says.
Posed by the president, but he was very clear in his statement last night. He wants to see the strait reopened immediately without limitation, and that's something we're going to hold them to.
The straits were open before Israel attacked. The straits were opened. Was no problem before Israel and the U.S. attacked. Everything was fine.
A second question on family and friends in Iran. I myself am Iranian, and I've been talking to them through the blackout. One of my family members yesterday said goodbye to me. So what message should we be sending Iranians when they message me saying what should they be doing right now? How should they stay safe? Because they really don't know what to do.
I think the president's main priority, and my main priority as his spokeswoman, is to...
Hey, Coach E, Coach E says this guy knows nothing about Iran. All he knows about, yo, why don't you educate me about Iran? Here, hop up. Educate me about Iran. Let me open up the distro. Coach E, come on up and educate everybody about Iran. Let's do that. Let's see how much you know. Since you know more than everybody else. Let me get this out here. Yeah, so you're a very important person. So let's pivot over to your attention. It's giving everybody your attention instead of me, right? So let me see here. Let's do that. Because I don't mind doing that, you know. Fuck it. Let me call your bluff. Let me learn from you. If you got something to teach, let everybody learn from you. Come on up. Here's the... Oh, shit. That's Open Secrets. Damn, why is that there? Is it this one? Right. Here we go. Now I got it. Put that in the chat. Boom. So here you go. Hit the link. Come on up. Explain to everybody what you know. Enlighten people. Here we go. I'm not Iranian, so I don't claim to know shit. How about that? Enlighten me. Look, he said, I lived in the Middle East for years. That's like a black dude. That's like a white dude saying, yeah, my friend is black. I know about racism. What the fuck? I don't care. Come, you said I know nothing. So hop your ass up here and explain. Teach everybody. Teach everybody about Iran. Come on. That's what you said. This guy knows nothing about Iran. Come up and teach, man. Come on up. First of all, I'm not claiming to know a motherfucking thing about Iran. But what I do know about Iran is actually fact. I didn't say any. I'm not guessing. I'm just saying the facts. You trying to say Iran is not selling drones to Russia and to bomb Ukraine? Is that what you're saying? You saying that's made up? That's even Iran says they're doing that. Iran says it. So what's your problem, man? Hop on up, man. You know what I'm saying? My cousin is black. What the fuck? I lived in the Middle East. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What part? Where were you in Abu Dhabi and shit? Up in the hotel? Where the fuck? Come on over here, man. Hop on up. Come on, man. Hop on up, man. Just hop on. It doesn't matter. Come on, hop on up. I got nothing to prove. You got nothing to prove. You said I don't know anything about Iran. I said Iran is selling drones to Russia that Russia is using to kill Ukrainians. That's correct. But you know more than that. I guess that's a lie. So hop your ass on up. I said Russia support both sides in Sudan. You know more than that. You saying they not supporting both sides. You saying they didn't support both sides of the conflict in Sudan. You saying that's wrong too. So take that back. I don't know anything about that. So come on up and tell us about it. Iran. Come on. Iran is actually working together with the United Arab Emirates supporting the government of Sudan. Yeah, they're doing that. They support the same side in Sudan conflict. Come on up. Was I wrong about that? I mean, I'm only reading public information. You acting like this is personal shit I know. There's nothing personal I'm claiming to know. I'm reading you the public information. Come on up. This is crazy, man. Just come on up and educate us. Anybody want to hop up? Come on, hop on up. Let me do this. Yeah. Here we go. He said all I know about is hip hop music. All right. So come on up then, man. Let's go. Click the like button too. Also you, Coachie. Everybody hit the like button, please, because you obviously like the channel. That's why you're here. Okay. And I even extended you graciously the opportunity to hop up and speak your mind so everybody can know who you are, how important you are, how much you know about the topic, and you can enlighten all of us right here because we all got time. Okay? Come on now. Come on up. And by the way, anybody, fuck Coachine. Anybody else, come on up here and educate us. You don't have to be an asshole like him, but come on up and teach me something. I want to hear about what people think about this. This is a debacle. What's going on in the Middle East is a debacle. Hey, if you agree this shit is a debacle, come on up and speak on it. It's okay. I already said I don't agree with my country bombing Iran. What, you disagree with that? Coachine, you disagree with my opinion about that? Okay, I don't know shit about Iran, and maybe Trump should bomb the fuck out of their ass since I don't know shit. Because I was actually against him bombing them, but your stupid ass, what the fuck? You're right, I don't know shit. Maybe all the right wingers were correct. Maybe they just about to get a bomb, and there was no choice, and they had to go in there and bomb them with Israel. Yeah, they must be right. I was wrong. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? You see how people are? What the fuck? What the fuck is up with this dude, man? God damn. Come on, hop on up, man. Let's go. Hop on up. Teach us something, because I say this shit is a debacle. I'm saying let's get the fuck out of there. Why are we involved? There's obviously more going on than what we're being told. And then somebody's like, he don't know nothing. He only knows about hip hop. Okay. So anyway. Anyway, I tell you what, I think I know what to do now. There's another story that lines up with this one, right? With the and it's coming out of France. It's coming out of France. This one should be very nice. It's about the Freemasons, y'all. Did y'all know that France is cracking down on Freemasons? And I was surprised to see this story. I thought it was kind of funny to listen to and check out. So let's all check this out together and see what it's about. Freemasons, for those of you that don't know, it's a hot topic. A lot of conspiracies out there about the Freemasons and all of this stuff. But this is a real story about real Freemasons in Paris. Okay, so here we go.
22 people have gone on trial in France on charges of murder and other serious crimes, centered on members of a Masonic lodge accused of running hit squads. Those in the dock include 4 military personnel from France's Foreign Intelligence Service, 2 police officers, a retired domestic intelligence officer, a security guard, and 2 business executives. One victim, who survived 2 assassination attempts, explains the consequences.
Are y'all hearing this? Like, wow. Let me start this over. This is a crazy story.
22 people have gone on trial in France on charges of murder and other serious crimes, centered on members of a Masonic lodge accused of running hit squads. Those in the dock.
Yep, you heard right. Accused of running hit squads. Freemason members of Freemason organization in France, accused of organizing hit squads. Like, this is wild.
22 people have gone on trial in France on charges of murder and other serious crimes, centered on members of a Masonic lodge accused of running hit squads. Those in the dock include 4 military personnel from France's Foreign Intelligence Service, 2 police officers, a retired domestic intelligence officer, a security guard, and 2 business executives. One victim, who survived 2 assassination attempts, explains the consequences of the attacks.
Trouble du stress post-traumatique dont je n'arrive pas à sortir en fait depuis 6 ans, ça revient par épisode. Cancer. Et puis exclusion de ma profession également. Voilà, ça fait quand même beaucoup de choses.
Most of the accused, aged between 30 and 73, have no previous criminal records. They are accused of murder, attempted murders, aggravated assault, and criminal conspiracy, all on behalf of a mafia network inside the former Athener Masonic Lodge in a Paris suburb.
Like, goddamn. Like, who were they killing? Who? I want to find out about that. So let me just pull this back. Tell me about the Masonic Lodge under fire by the France police with a murder investigation. Let's see here. All right, let me see. I'm curious about this story. As you can hear, this is like a bombshell story, but there's not a whole lot out. That was the European news channel that we heard just a second ago. That was Euronews, as a matter of fact, and spelled just like that. But let's see here. It says situation: Anthar trial, right? Anthar trial, which officially opened on Paris March 30th. It involves a criminal network operating out of a former Masonic lodge in the Paris suburbs of Puchau. Is that how that's pronounced? Puchau? Okay, dubbed the French media as a Freemason mafia. Okay. The case is staggering because it involves 22 defendants, including French intelligence agents, DGSE and DGSI, military personnel, and police officers who are accused of running a private hit squad for hire. Yes, you heard right. The trigger, the botched hit. The entire network unraveled on July 2020 due to a failed contract killing. The target, Marie-Helene Dini, a business coach. The arrest, 2 soldiers from the France Foreign Intelligence Service, DGSE, were caught in a car near her home with weapons. The accused, damn, French police are good, man. The accused, when arrested, they claimed that they were on an official mission for the French state to eliminate Mossad spy. Wow, that's interesting. That's funny. I mean, people, that's what I say, blame a Jew. That's what they are. That's what people do. And folks will be like, oh, really? Yeah, really? Okay. The spy was completely false. They were actually working as private hitmen. Does anyone vaguely remember this story? Now, it's right. It's from 2020. If you can remember that far back, I remember hearing something like that, some Mossad thing going on and police being arrested and stuff. And so here it turns out that it was made up and that this was a damn Freemason hit squad with secret police and military people in a Masonic lodge. The Masonic connection, the Anthar Lodge. The investigation led police to the Anthar Lodge. There's some good investigation, right? Investigative skills here. The investigation led the police to the Anthar Lodge, where the venerable master of the lodge, Jean-Luc Bauer, okay, or is that Bajour, was business rival of the target, Marie-Helene Dini. Damn, so he did all this for business reasons, for money. The motive. Bagour allegedly wanted to eliminate his competitor and use his lodge connections to find a hit squad. Be careful out there if you're in a Masonic lodge, man. You might have a member that just like want to use people as a hit squad, right? The price. He reportedly paid 70,000 euros to have her killed. That's approximately the same as dollars now. Or maybe it's different. I think euros is less now, man. I mean, I think dollars is less now. The murder investigation. Oh, $75,000. Right. Exactly. That makes sense. Okay. The murder investigation. While the botch hit on Dini started the case, it led police to uncover a string of other crimes, including a gold case murder. God damn. They uncovered more crimes. The victim, Lauren Pascali, a professional racing car driver. The crime. Pascali disappeared in 2018 and his body was found in a forest in 2019. Damn. The link. Investigators found that the same Anthar hit squad had been hired to kill him over an unpaid debt to one of the lodge's members. Damn, they getting down. They getting down and dirty. Okay, the defendants and charges. The trial, which is currently ongoing, April 2026, features a diverse and disturbing group of defendants. Jean-Luc Bajour, the former venerable master. So he's the lodge master of the lodge and the alleged mastermind. Damn, dude. Daniel Beaulieu. a retired agent for the Domestic Intelligence Services, DGSI, who allegedly organized the logistics. Sebastian Leroy, a secret guard accused of being the primary leader of the hit squad. Damn, they organized. Yo, they got different levels to that, right? The 13 or others, damn, they had this many other fucking people? 13 others face life imprisonment for charges ranging from murder and attempted murder to criminal conspiracy and industrial espionage. So that's what it's called when you're like trying to go between corporations. Okay. Industrial espionage. There it is. What is terrifying is the fact that the key figures, police officers, intelligence agents, and Freemasons are precisely the people who are supposed to act for the good of the society. Facts. The trial is expected to last through the summer of 2026 as the court unravels how deep the mafia network, actually went into French security state. Damn, that's a hell of a story right there. I'm going to try to follow up on that because that's just that's just amazing. I didn't really think that people take these kind of lodges that seriously anymore. I mean, I know that they're like friendly places. You know, you meet people, you network, so people start businesses or do whatever, right? But crime is another thing. And that's interesting to see that some people still use it as a place to, commit criminal acts, man. It's very interesting. But in any case, where's the last thing? Yeah, this is the last story right here. This is a funny one. The astronauts. Now let me see here. So who asked this question? Somebody asked a question here, right? Let me see. What did y'all want to know? The question was, knew that for years. The Epstein files just made it clear that this is truth. Okay. Yeah. I thought of the Epstein files too, man. To be honest, whenever, I'm curious, like, does this have some overlap? Every time there's a major event, that's what people are going to ask. They're going to ask, does it have an overlap to the Epstein files? Because the Epstein files was such a big event in volume and in time. It's 3 decades from 84 till 2019, right? From 84 to 2000, that's a couple of decades. That's 2 decades easily, right? So when you look at that, right, and you see how prolific a trafficker and an agent Epstein was, right, blackmailer and all of that, right? According to Lutnick, he was a prolific blackmailer, right? You have to wonder how much overlap is that, because these are high end people. Like, you talking about an executive here. Well, and then in the terms of the Epstein files, they were dealing with private executives from all over. So I'm just curious about that. It's just something to think about. Who knows if there's overlap there? I'm sure Epstein's not the only guy who had a honeypot, a blackmail scheme, crime syndicate, and all of that. But it's just worth wondering. Obviously, you have to ask that question because the Epstein files still are not released. So no one has any clarity yet because they just won't release the fucking files to give people clarity. It is what it is. But let's see here. Now, this is I want to go over to Brian Tyler Cohen real quick and just see. He got a story. He did a story about the telephone call the astronauts Trump made to the astronauts, and apparently they were acting really, really strange. So let's peep that, and then I'm gonna be out of here. I appreciate everybody for coming out. Do me a favor, click the like button. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe. I'm an American citizen, born and raised in Washington, D.C. My family goes back both sides to the colonial period in the U.S., but I live abroad. I actually live in Copenhagen, Denmark, and I've been living here for some time. It's a great country. My kids live here, and I'm just happy to make this place home. And but that gives me a different perspective. I've been traveling for a while too outside of Denmark before I even, and I've lived in New York is like my second home in the U.S. too. So I kind of tie these things together when I do my presentations. So I appreciate everybody coming out and supporting. Listen, anybody can hop up at any time. Feel blessed. Like, I want to hear what people's perspective is on topics. And some of us know a little more than others. That's okay. My advice would be offer what you know. Hop on up. I think the audience really likes when they can qualify who you are. The chat is cool, but when they can kind of see you and hear you, know something about you, it makes it even more interesting, So I encourage people to hop up. So when you get this link, follow Brian actually Cohen, because he's got some decent, he's on it every day, and it's informative and it's concise, it's accurate information. So take that link. If you don't hop up now, you don't have to hop up, but use the link to install Discord on your phone. That way, if you want to hop up later, I'm here every day, pretty much at the same time. So hop up anytime. So if you got that installed on your phone, that invites you to my server also at the same time that it installs the program. So the next time, all you got to do is type me a message. I will see it and I'll add you to my friend list, and then you'll be able to get on the program. So let's hear about the astronauts and what they had to say about Trump.
You have not seen awkward until you've watched this phone call between Donald Trump and the Artemis II crew.
So proud to be a part of this program.
Well, I have to say I spoke to a very special person, Wayne Gretzky, who I think you know, the great one. And I spoke to your prime minister and many other friends I have in Canada. They are so proud of you. And you have a lot of courage. I'm not sure if they'd want to do that. I'm not even sure if the great one would want to do that, to be honest with you. But you have a lot of courage doing what you're doing, a lot of bravery and a lot of genius. But they're very, very proud of you.
They got nothing to say to him. Damn. That is cold. Damn, yo. No, they're just not saying anything. It's a delay. I think it's like a 3-second delay. But look, let's take it back. He's not saying a damn thing. They're just not responding. Because I could see the delay. They did respond. They put a thumbs up to his comment. But let's see it here. So there was a little delay. But look.
Part of this program.
Well, I have to say I spoke to...
So you've watched this phone call between Donald Trump and the Artemis II crew.
So proud to be a part of this program.
Well, I have to say I spoke to a very special person, Wayne Gretzky, who I think you know, the great one. And I spoke to your prime minister and many other friends I have in Canada. They are so proud of you. And you have a lot of courage. I'm not sure if they'd want to do that. I'm not even sure if the great one would want to do that, to be honest with you. But you have a lot of courage doing what you're doing, a lot of bravery and a lot of genius. But they're very, very proud of you.
Administrator Alex, I'm going to just get a quick comm check, make sure you guys are still on the line and we didn't have a handover.
I am. Yes, I am.
And just brutal. That's almost a full minute of silence after Trump's usual inane ramblings, where these astronauts can't even bring themselves to dignify what Trump is saying by responding. And so they just sit there and wait for it to end. And look, I'm lucky enough to say that I've sat with two presidents now. It's not exactly
I thought Donald Trump was against woke. Isn't that astronaut stuff too woke for Donald Trump?
something that you just sit quietly and hope passes you by. There was a moment during my interview with President Biden back in 2022.
There was too much diversity in the room. Let's go back. There's too much diversity here. There's a female. There's an African American. There's more diversity here than Trump. This is the only place he couldn't get there. You know. Yeah, Trump has. This is just so weird, so weird. But I'm happy to see the diversity myself. I can speak on that. I think it's not about being cheap, and but it's about being thoughtful. It does encourage involvement when you do show diversity. And no, I'm not for just putting, people in position that don't have the proper training, that don't live up to the level of excellence that's required for any job, right? But you obviously know that there's some that live up from all groups that live up to the level of excellency that is required, right? Pretty much it's not that hard to find, right? So when you have groups represented, you might want to make it diverse because it helps the environment. It helps the camaraderie among the group, the working group. You see what I mean? And, for me, when I look at this, right, I see people working together. That's what I see. I see this as selling a united group, people coming together. Saying like, yeah, we're actually having fun together. I might be different. You might be a woman. I might be a man. Your color might be different from mine, but we're working together and having fun. This is like, we're having the time of our life, man. This is great. That's what I like about it. It encourages more of that because if you got a society that is diverse, you need to involve people. Otherwise it becomes more problematic than anything else. You see what I mean? So I'm all for the diversity. I'm happy. Listen, when what I like about the air and space program, right? The astronaut program is that you do see a lot of women physicists in it. You see what I mean? Like women are fairly well represented in this physicist world, and in the science world. So I like that a lot too. And I just think Trump, when you're talking to people like this, man, Trump doesn't have anything worthy to say to any of them. He's not even on the same level. And he's selling culture war. And these people are obviously against culture war. You know what I mean? Therefore, science, culture in the science world almost doesn't even have a place. You see what I mean? Because in the science world, culture is a science. It can be broken down to everyone just has a culture for a reason. It's a reason why you have it. If it serves a purpose, then in the science world, you see what I mean? It's not more special than someone else's. Like if you want to look at religion, scientifically, is one religion better than the other, scientifically speaking? What role does religion serve people? And, is it the only one that can serve this way? No, there's different ones that serve different purposes. It's the same as clothing. If you live in bad weather, you're going to have bad weather clothes. If you live in great weather, you're going to have great weather clothes. Science will back that up. You see what I'm saying? Those theories up. So, people aren't so different. And I just like to see it encouraged this way, to see that it just shows people aren't that different, But in any case, thanks for coming out, y'all. I'm gonna go. I gotta get out of here, get some lunch, and then get some rest actually. But you said, hold on, my dad's grandfather is a. Hold on, let me see what you say. An astronaut? Matt, hold on. Someone Octavia says, tell your friend's sister there's any wind. There any wind or is there any wind on the moon? That's so funny, man. Okay, let me see. My friend's sister is an astronaut. went to Texas A&M. Rodney said, that's so funny. And then Octavia said, tells your friend's sister is the idiot. Yeah, are there any astronaut ladies out there that are looking to date? Just leave your address and your name in the comment section. Send me a message on Discord now. But in any case, yeah, I appreciate everybody for coming out. Y'all too funny, man. Oh, you said the Discord link doesn't work? Oh, yes, it does. What are you talking about, man? It doesn't work. Yeah, well, why you say it doesn't work? Let me see something here. Let me see here. There you go. That one works. It should work. Yeah, this is new. So I don't know why it wouldn't work. Do I have to change it? Maybe I need to change it then. Invites. Yeah, it should be good. It should be good. All right, y'all. You said it's not? I don't know why that is, man. It should be. No, it's working. It's working. Here. Use a copy. Right. There it is. It's working, man. I don't know what that's about. But this is the link. And yeah, that's the one so I don't know why it wouldn't work. Somebody else click the link. I appreciate everybody though. I will catch up with y'all. Yeah, and be good. Have a good beginning of your day. And we take it from there. I'll be back in 18 hours. Appreciate y'all. One. And impeach Trump. Yo, but what's going to happen? You know, I don't want JD Vance in position at all. I'd rather have lunatic Trump. Fuck JD Vance. He's too healthy to be sick. You know, we don't need a healthy sick man. I'll take the sick the sick one. Just all right, peace, y'all. Later.
Does love still exist? Yeah, I have my doubts. On the street, I check out how brothers be living. Yo, let's just say, kid, it ain't no Thanksgiving. We got people shooting dope, ain't never heard of hope. We got others with the gat and the others with the fucking scope. As I enter the projects into rec rooms, some brothers might see their doom. I see my nigga Paulo.
What's up, Antifa? Antifa!
Neighborhood biddies with all the dopest shapes. There goes Rollo with the blowout fro. He's got a gat. Hey, yo, niggas gots to go. No show is live with narrating. Fuck Memorex. My nigga Rollo's got a gat at Paulo's chest. One slug blasted out. Down, boy, died. Now show me some love, kid. It sounds like a fucking yes, you lie. know the struggle goes on. People trying to survive. Hold on. But we know it's been so long. Without a limit, so wrong. Sometimes I think how the world come to this. A place where every man and woman needs a therapist. Mass confusion, people living in delusion. Justify all the bullshit through the Constitution. Meanwhile, the masses struggle to survive. I think we're too busy to hear our people's cries. Single mothers struggle to raise families. Genocide committed through famine and disease. I wonder if these things will ever cease to exist. I know it could if we cease and desist. Giving all the power to the industrialists. Giving all our power to the damn commercialists. They see us just as being sheep in this world. They want us to do what we're told, like boys and girls. Oh God, I want to live another day so I can help provide equality and this yes, day. You know, the struggle goes on. People trying to survive, hold on. Though we know it's been so long. Pain without a limit, so wrong. Everybody around the globe, open up your earlobe, your third eye, and then decipher the code. Through knowledge, understanding, then bring love into the concept instead of bling bling. Truth instead of biased educational methods. Twisting, contorting God's message of love for every human being. Listen, motherfucker, don't you hear the screams? It's time to do much more than talk, debate, and spread hate. We need to think and at the same time investigate. Understand what our actions may create. Before continuing the cycle we procreate. We can clone humans, but at the same same time we can't feed humans. The future of man is actually looming. It's really depressing, it's true. And yes, you know the struggle goes on. People trying to survive, hold on. But we know it's been so long. Pain without a limit, so wrong. I know how to see a whack MC when he bustin', but I just back away real cool, no fussin'. I'd rather go kicking in the streets with the bums and use the knowledge to collect what? Some funds. Open a non-profit and build a damn school. And this is the story of how a great king rules. There's many that claim to know the local demographic, but don't have the nerve to tell you the truth. It's tragic, but I do, so sit back and let me spit this shit to you. You feel better when I spit this shit to you, despite the system trying to clamp down on the people. People will learn how to stand up to evil. Not evil that's across the globe, that's too far, but evil that lies in their own backyard. And fighting, it's not an option, they can't win. The government, it's not supposed to represent sin, but then again they do, and that's a problem. So let's go down and figure out how to solve them. It's not fun being a rapper that can't speak, but we do, yes, and plus we make fat beats. Yo, we smoke weed, break up trees. Listen, bringing fat beats, that is our mission. You wanted to see us, homeboy, shut up and listen. Thelonious and Big Bennett, brother, check the vision. Mentalities show different realities. Enter the Star Trek room when you hear the boom. I be the Walkman with the super bass. Automatic stop, yes, stereo cassette player. With the delayer, freaky lyrical sprayer. Extraterrestrial rhyme sayer. I be the poetical VIC/master of the ceremony. Testimony, won't you come step with me? I'm on a historical journey. Kinda like Sigourney. Implore me to represent the attorney that represents my niggas, go figure. It's the card, they call me Uncle Bigger. Niggas love your blunts, down your liquors. I be the parallel to the fiction. You're fixated on this brother's nature. Relaxed behavior, I might save your change. Flip it, rearrange the whole concept. Yo, it's good for all your brain. Insane, psychotic, neurotic, black onyx, and hooked on phonics. Just atomic, bees like a bonnet. Cut with the Asiatic, they all up on it. Rhyme static with the Bugatti type of skill. You wonder, is this nigga Vic really for real? It's still, but only necessary in the berry. I'm milk like dairy, they quite contrary. That's scary, but I'm a dog in a prairie. I scurry to grab my bones and just bury. Lyrical flurry, go get your secretary with impeccable dictions. My style might vary, so get a hold of your own shit real fast. Fucking with us, we take it right out your ass. Prairie dogs chill while the other dogs howl. Too many dogs get sent to the pound. Back on the hill, me and my peeps just lounge. Prairie dogs, we keep it on the down. Splatter, don't like gun splatter. We try to climb the ladder, wicked men get better. They make it like splatter, but it really don't matter. Cause you know we coming back to our sons and our daughters. Father him the one who protects ya, and the mother she will never neglect ya. Through divine nature the people respect ya, and in this way I deliver my lecture.
heed. Take 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 heed.
I traveled the globe just to gain perspective. The theory of relativity applied. Of course, it took a while to decide how I should proceed, but even my life is truly based upon need. So I move forward with more deliberate speed. Smash corny motherfuckers that stuck on greed. My seed is worth more than $1 million in future stock. The goal is to break the safe, the padlock. Mad cats can't stop it, need a rocket. Your style is boring and cold, mine is tropic. Battles you want, commit, you'll change the topic. My partner stood there to put your beat in the pocket. So this nigga here can proceed to destroy your stereotypical pop rap gangsta ploy. Not hating on niggas from the ghetto, but I'm hating on copycat rappers from the meadow. They procreate bullshit without paying the price. That's like talking about CeeLo with no dice. I drink milk, but that's about it. I won't compare dairy MCs to dope shit. I want you full undivided in this here place. We think to entertain and to educate your bum ass niggas and your non-believers. You know we change your membrane every time you see us. The others can't stand the way we make away ease. The way we get love from the finest ladies. Oh my son, oh here comes another one. About to take it to the place that lies under the sun. Style witty, come from Chocolate City. Today I'm on the march where I invited $1 million from the Million Man March to stomp on fake gangster rappers so they don't need starch. For the funeral suits, we shine boots and make the radio station only play the roots. Then make the television station play Alex Haley Roots and remind these motherfuckers of what